This is Maxi Contenti, the director of the Last Matinee, and you're hearing the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. Tonight we're doing a double feature of The House of Wax, 1953 and 2005. I'm one of your co-hosts, Todd. We have Sam, who's got... Ooh, the doggy just jumped up in the background. I like the doggy.
He did.
Yeah. We got Steve wearing his hat. Joe, I guess I missed the memo that the dudes have to wear hats tonight.
Yes.
My bad. Joe and Steve both supporting that. Me and Sam will be hatless. And yeah, how are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Doing great, Todd. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It was hot and now it's cooling down, so I'm a fan of that. I'm ready for the winter, so bring it on.
Winter.
Yeah.
Well, I like winter too, but don't forget about fall.
That's true. Fall, we have great weather and Halloween, so nothing wrong with that.
Halloween is upon us.
Are we doing Hoobie Halloween this year, you guys? Are you watching that again?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't watched it since the one time I watched it, so I'm excited to revisit it actually for this Halloween season and see if it holds up.
Guess we'll see.
I guess so.
Steve, what's up with you, buddy?
Not much. I lost a fight with a hammer this
Oh no.
So I've been working on my horror basement, and I bought like 60 frames so I could finally put up my autographs. And I was framing something and like putting it on the wall, and the hammer kind of like jerked back and like hit me in almost the eye. So,
Gosh, it's like an open gash.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
Do you need like a butterfly for that? Like,
no, I'm good.
are you sure?
Yeah. It's just happy it didn't hit my eye. Let's just say that. So
I don't know. I feel like you need a stitch or two.
yeah, no, I'm good.
All right.
So it's yeah, but it's starting to look. Finally, my basement is coming together with all my horror stuff. It's been in boxes for like 4 years, so very happy to see it up and everything. So
That must be such a good feeling.
it is.
Come over and help me with all of my stuff.
my in-laws came over yesterday, came down, are like, I don't like this at all. And I'm like, perfect. It works.
Oh.
I mean, people don't like it. I mean, it's too scary.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Joe's parents came up this weekend to Salem, and they came into our apartment, and like it's a disaster. And I was telling Joe's mom, I was like, Patty, do not judge me on my girlfriend ability with how messy our apartment is. So that's always fun.
Was she looking around the room and like
Well, she likes Halloween and horror, so she always likes to see like how I've decorated stuff, and then she likes to look at like what Joe's been collecting recently. So they were just like, it looks so great in here. I'm like, no, it doesn't. There's piles of Halloween shit everywhere. Like, it does not look great right now, but they were nice about it.
They were. Yeah. I want to mention a couple things actually. So number one, Sam and I went to a horror pop-up on Friday. There is a local business owner. Her name is Kaylee, and she is looking to open a horror-themed restaurant here in Salem. So they did their first ever pop-up on Friday, and I got the Hellraiser burger, which was pretty amazing actually. It was like a cheeseburger with buffalo sauce and jalapenos and whatnot. And Sam got the Laurie Strode, which was an eggplant sandwich based thing. But yeah, so their hope is to open like an actual restaurant. They're still looking for like a forever home or whatnot. But if you guys want to like keep up to date with them or just like show any support at all, their name is The Crypt here in Salem. So check them out.
very nice. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And Steve, we have an interview tonight.
We do have an interview tonight. You have to tell me who it is, because we haven't recorded yet.
All right. So I will tell you. So yeah, we are also going to be interviewing Maxi Contenti, who directed the movie The Last Matinee, which me and Steve, I think, are going to be talking about on What Watch tonight. But stick around for the interview at the end of the episode. This is a foreign language horror film that is going to be released via VOD on August 24th. But yeah, we will get into details about what it's all about during our What Watch. But stick around for the interview with the director at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys ready to get in some questions?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You can ask us those questions on social media at the Horror Squad Podcast or on our Discord, where they had all sorts of conversations, including candy, which we're going to talk about because it's part of the questions, and a lot of talk about House of Wax. They're pretty excited that we're doing another double, original remake feature. So a lot of good stuff. So thank you everyone for the questions. The first question is from Queso Con Queso. What was the first horror movie you saw in theaters?
Ooh, I feel like we've talked about this before, but I can't remember. I'm trying to remember now. The first one that comes to my mind is The Sixth Sense or Stigmata. For some reason, those two pop in my head. I'm sure I saw something before that, but those two were right around the same time, and I definitely remember those.
I guess depending on who you ask, Jurassic Park would be one of them. If we're doing really horror, shoot, maybe Blair Witch, Sleepy Hollow, something like that.
For me, I'm pretty sure it was probably I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I talked about last week.
Yep. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw that in theaters too.
And for me, if you consider horror, it would be Witches. Just because I was 10 with that. So that marked me. I remember it vividly. If you don't count it though, it's probably something like Halloween H2O or something along that timeline. Or like Todd said, Jurassic Park I saw in 93, so I would have been really young then too. But it's tough to say. It's like, God, I saw so many movies at the theaters when I was a kid that's tough to remember exactly which one was first. But they're pretty strict here with the age thing. So I would have had to have been at least 16 to watch a horror film. So it's probably a Halloween H2O as far as pure horror goes.
Speaking of H2O, do you know the original title for Halloween H2O was The Revenge of Laurie Strode? Which I think would have been a much better
Way
title.
better.
Yeah.
Kind of strange sounding though. She wasn't on the offensive or anything that movie.
I like H2O.
You like H2O?
It rolls off the tongue.
It does. All right.
It just reminds me of Water Boy.
Yeah, right. It's Halloween water. But yeah, no, I started listening to a new podcast called Development Hell, if anyone wants to check it out. But it's about horror movies that never got made.
Ooh, like
it's
that.
Pretty interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I've listened to a few episodes. I'd listened to Halloween 3D, which sounded like it would have been terrible if it ever got made. It was part of the Rob Zombie canon. It was supposed to be the third Rob Zombie movie. And then also they go over a Candyman sequel that never happened and Freddy vs. Jason 2. So yeah, they go over some pretty interesting ones there. So yeah, check it out if you guys want.
So there's two here. Is it Dread Central?
Dread, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And his second question is, what is your favorite movie snack when you see a horror movie in person at the theater? Mine is popcorn and Sour Patch Kids, and I miss the movie theater so much.
I mean, I'm like an old man, according to Sam, because I just like Twizzlers, which I think they're delicious. I eat them all the time. But I mean, you can never go wrong with popcorn either. I mean, it's just the classic.
It gives me a tummy
even
ache.
gotten Raisin Nuts before. Is that what it's called?
Raisinets.
Raisinets.
They're delicious.
Raisin Nuts.
He's an old man. Same thing.
Easy to get hard candy now and just suck on it the whole movie.
Yeah.
Did you say popcorn gives you a tummy ache, Todd?
Yeah, if I eat too much popcorn, it gives me a little tummy ache. Yeah, probably because I eat it super fast. It's
right.
It's so good though.
It's so good. Yeah.
It's I just want to I just wish I could take two hands and just go
double fist it.
It's the 5-finger grab is not enough, My choice is nachos.
I'm right there with you. Nachos with some jalapenos.
Oh, heck yeah.
Hot nacho cheese sauce. I like getting a hot dog too. I usually get the same exact thing actually. I usually get a hot dog, nachos, and a Coke or a cherry Coke or something cherry-ish.
I remember for a while I was in this kick of where I would get food before and sneak it in, and it would either be Subway or Chipotle. When I first discovered Chipotle, I was obsessed.
You doing burritos or burrito bowls?
I was doing burritos.
Nice.
Yeah. For me, it's popcorn. I want a food that I don't have to my eyes don't leave the screen. So I don't want to have to look down and, deal with whatever food I'm eating. So that's why nachos and stuff like that are no for me. And if I'm gonna eat like a chocolate, because sometimes it's part of the combo package, it's gonna be either M&Ms or Kit Kat bites. I think those would be my go-tos. But as far as if you do have popcorn, I'm just out of curiosity, what is the average like end time for when you're done your popcorn? Like I'm usually done the popcorn before the movie fucking starts, like between the commercials and the trailers.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so where would you say, are you someone who like kind of spreads the load throughout the movie? Do you try to munch it like as soon as possible? So where are you on the popcorn?
I try to go slow so like I can enjoy it during the actual movie, but usually that's not what happens. I'll just devour it during the trailers.
Usually I devour my nachos. Well, I'll try to like eat Joe's popcorn pre-movie and then I enjoy my nachos. But I also give some of my nachos to Joe. But I'm really happy if I can eat my nachos all the way through and before the movie ends, there's a little bit of popcorn that Joe didn't finish. Then I'm like, oh, hell yeah, give that popcorn to me.
I start off very fast with popcorn and then I feel like poopies. And then like an hour later, I'm like, I'll have some more popcorn. And then I snack on popcorn. I don't think I've ever finished a popcorn though.
What?
I always, throw like a couple inches of it away.
What? You don't
Yeah.
take it home? Don't
Nah,
even
well,
play
it's
with
old.
me.
It's
Do
like
not
stale.
ever order small popcorn around me. Like, there's no point. Stop playing
That's
games.
as big as I get is a small. If I get a popcorn, it's a
Oh
small.
no, Todd. We
because you
need to
gotta
get a
think-
large.
No, you got to think I'm getting the nachos, a hot dog, and if I get a
Okay,
large
you're getting a
popcorn
hot
too,
dog.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So I gotta like kind of be healthy. Well, that's not even close to healthy, but kind of limit it a little bit.
I have a question. Do you guys drink soda when you're watching the movie?
Mhm.
Okay, well, I get really scared about drinking the soda. I'll drink it, but I try not to because it's cold in the theater, which causes me to have to go pee all the time. And then plus with the soda. And I get so anxious by like getting up. I'll hold my pee until I'm about to pee my pants because I do not want to go down the steps because then I'm like, what if I fall? What if I can't see? What if I go out and they don't let me back in, even though they always do? But I'm like, oh God, please let me back in. Please let me back in. Please let me back in. What if I go up the stairs and I can't find my row? Like, I just think of all these things. No one else thinks of that?
I only drink water myself.
Well, don't you have to pee with the water?
You know, I will like pretty much die in my seat before leaving my
Oh.
seat for the theater, because I mean you're getting late in the movie by the time I would have to pee, and I ain't gonna miss like probably the climax of the film. So I'll
Quick peer though. I'm fast.
Yeah, no, I will stay in my seat like for I'll suffer through it. That's basically what
I can't.
Yeah, same. I hate like I don't want to miss like 1 second of a movie. Like so.
It'll make it not enjoyable though. For me at least, if you're sitting there,
Yeah.
with your pee
That's
hurts.
all I think about. Yeah.
That's why you just pee. You just pee your pants.
That's
That's why you wear an adult diaper to the theater. They don't have to worry
a
about it.
life hack right
Joe,
there.
I
Yep.
would. Like, I want to get a Shiwi, take a cup. Joe, will you be bothered if I take a Shiwi and then like pee in a
No.
cup that's
No,
in
I
my
wouldn't mind.
purse and I
No.
can just stay seated? Put like
Yeah.
a little blanket over my lap.
Is a
I'd be
shiwi
fine
what
with it.
girls call peeing now? Is that a thing?
It's like a little you can use it
Like a
underneath
funnel?
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can like
Really?
stand up and go pee.
I had
Mhm.
no
Yeah,
idea
it's
that
a-
existed. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like it's like so girls can be guys. Like, it's basically like standing up while you pee. Yeah. It's very
Oh.
convenient.
I mean, not
Have
that
you
we
used
want
one?
to do that. No, but every time I'm like, man, life would be so much easier if I had a Shiwi.
That's true. We got urinals. We just pull out the
Especially
wiener and spray. Yeah.
Exactly. Like if you're in the car, like give me that Shiwi and let me go into this little water bottle and you don't even have to stop. Life would be so easy.
Cool. All right.
Hashtag not sponsored by Shiwi.
Yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll work on it. Next question is from horror fan Ryan. Do you think horror would be better off if Hollywood would remake much older films, say from the 60s and before, than trying to remake 80s and in some cases 90s horror movies?
I don't think it matters either way. I mean, you just need to have a good script, like at the end of the day. Like, so, I mean, yeah. I mean, was good either one way or the other. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm can't really add anything to that. Yeah. If it's good, it's good. Right.
Right.
I mean, but if you choose to make remakes, maybe you should choose something a little bit older to where we don't compare it so much
Right.
as like the older generations would. Like maybe they're not really trying to see all of the new horror
Yep.
films like we are right now.
Yeah, no, I actually I do agree with that. Because yeah, like obviously when you remake these 80s horror movies, it's like so fresh in horror fans' minds and whatnot, and it's like what a lot of this generation grew up on. So yeah, I mean, obviously you're looking at it under more of a microscope, say as like a House of Wax, which most people probably had never seen before, and then probably saw the remake first. So yeah, I agree with you, Sam.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it really comes down to if someone has a great idea for something, it doesn't matter when it was made because they're obviously trying to improve it. But the issue that we're facing is that studios are trying to milk the people who are still alive that saw those movies as a kid. And that's why we're getting remakes of the 80s and 90s, because the cash grab is there. Whereas people, like 1953, there's not a ton of people who are going to go see the remake based solely on the 1953 film. So I think that's the issue, is that we're getting a lot of cash grab movies as opposed to just people wanting to remake something because they feel passionate about the project. So
yeah, 100% on that.
Next questions are from Chuck, Captain Amazing 85. If you had a wax figure of yourself made, what pose would it have and what would it be wearing?
Wow, what a question. God, I don't know. I don't know what pose would I do. Something like sort of majestic, I guess. Maybe like one like leg up on a like a rock or something like
Captain
that.
Morgan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a Captain Morgan pose with like my hands on my hips, like looking up into like to the ceiling or something like that. And I'd be wearing a tuxedo.
Oh, okay. I would I'd be nude, but I would
Ooh.
have boxers around my
That's what
ankles.
I'm talking about.
And I'd be in a sitting position.
Ooh.
And I could put it on the toilet. So when people don't tell anyone where I'm at, they open the door and it looks like I'm taking a shit.
I like it.
Oh, I like that. I would probably be wearing something Halloweenish, probably something with jack-o'-lanterns, and I'd probably be just smiling as I always am. Nothing too exciting.
With your shiwi. With
My shiwi and a tray of nachos.
Yeah. It'd be like a fountain, like the shiwi, like there'd just be like
just nacho cheese. Nacho cheese out of the shiwi.
Ooh, nice. All right. People can dip their nachos in it. Well, it comes down.
For me, I think I just want to be sitting in a theater seat wearing a Horror Squad t-shirt, an HHN hat, a Disney Magic Band on my wrist, and just like jeans, I guess, just to, combine all my favorite things into one kind of.
I love that.
This is what this guy was like. And my love of movies would be kind of me sitting in the theater seat.
All right. Kind of like in House of Wax tonight, the remake.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to be one of those.
Yeah.
Next question. A wax figure is a way of leaving a legacy behind. How do you want to be remembered?
Wow. That's a deep ass question right there. I mean, I just want to be remembered, I guess, as like just a good person. Like I don't want people to be like, oh, he was an asshole. Cause it's so funny. Cause like the other day, what was it? I don't know if you guys, it's like not really a great story, but Doe Brunson, he was like a famous poker player, an old guy. And they had this like went trending on Twitter the other day. Like someone wrote like, hey, I'm writing a book about like my uncle, who's like another poker player. He's like, I'd love to talk to you about it. And he just responded like, he was like a decent gambler, but he was an asshole. So I have nothing good to say about him or something like that, And like, that's obviously not how I would ever want to be remembered. So yeah, I mean, just like a genuinely like nice person, I guess. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to like leave like this like big legacy behind or anything like that. But at the end of the day, if people just remember you as like a nice and caring person, I think that's enough.
Joe Magnanaro, the biggest penis I've ever seen. Sam just smiles. That's a hard one. It's I guess being a good dad, you know. I mean, what else can you do? If you got kids, you got to
Aw.
be a good dad. So don't be an asshole, because they'll, you know, like when you're growing up, you probably don't remember all the really nice things your parents did to you, or bending backwards for you and stuff like that, and you're being a little asshole to them. But you'll remember, like, remember mom when you smacked me in the back of the head because I, you know, threw my pog or something. You know what I mean? So you always
Aw.
remember like the naughty stuff. So like, I don't know, try to be better. So
But I feel like when you get to a certain age, then when you're the adult, you do realize like how much your
yeah.
parents did for you. You're like, oh shit, man, that was hard.
Yeah, I told my mom like multiple times, like, Mom, like, can I just give you like a blanket apology for
Mm,
like this stupid shit,
yep.
stupid phases, and like, oh my word, man, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. At one point, I think everyone's like a little asshole, like at
Mhm.
some point in their life, like especially in your like early teens and tween years. So,
Mhm.
and parents gonna deal with that bullshit. I'm sure you're getting close to that point, Todd. I think, right?
Yeah, I'm right on the cusp, 12-year
Yeah.
old, so she definitely has an attitude.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fun.
You just gotta brave through those years.
It's funny too, because like I was telling my wife, like, because my daughter likes like the TikTokers and the YouTubers, and my wife doesn't get it, but I'm like, it's the same thing. Like, we liked, whether it's like baseball players or rappers or whatever it is, like it was musicians and actors and stuff, and now the kids, like, they watch Twitch and they watch people playing
Right.
video games, and it's weird to us. It's super fucking weird to me. I'm like, why don't you just play the game? You have the game, play the game.
Right.
But they
Yeah.
they immortalize these people that are like Twitchers and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
baseball players and football players and stuff like that aren't really important to them right now. So it's like,
Yeah, it's whatever's cool at the time. It's a different
Mhm.
times, obviously, but like I can't even imagine, like, God, like when I was like listening to like Slipknot, like back, you know, when I was like 12, like
Yeah.
13, and like what the fuck my parents were like thinking, you know, and I dyed my hair blue and shit. They were like, oh Lord.
Oh
But
my gosh.
hey, you know, they were supportive. I mean, my mom helped me dye my hair blue and shit. So, you know,
Yeah.
but they're phases, you know, and you just have to let your kids.
Mhm.
I think that's good though. Just let your kids like do that and explore it rather than like shame them about it. You
Yeah,
know?
definitely. If they're not hurting anybody, you can do whatever they want.
Right. Yeah. No, totally.
Except, please do not dress up as a brony or a furry.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
on the line there.
That's
As
a
a
little
what?
odd, yeah.
A furry or a brony.
Oh,
Mhm.
come on, Todd.
What about you, Sam? What do you want to be remembered for?
Oh, do I like a furry? No. I mean, honestly, I probably won't be remembered because I'm not gonna have kids or anything like that. But maybe there's someone that will live longer than I do that knows me. And hopefully they'll remember me as just being like a kind, sensitive person, just enjoying the little things, the simple things in life.
Nice.
Hmm.
For
I mean,
me,
once oh, sorry, go ahead, Steve.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, well, like once, you know, we're gonna have the four of us, the Horror Squad podcast at Madame Tussauds one day. So, you know, we'll be immortalized there.
There
It
you
is
go.
pretty cool. I was thinking about the other day, like, like Sam, you got your YouTube stuff, and as long as like servers don't get deleted or whatever, that will always be online. And like
Mhm.
these episodes for Horse Squad or whatever will always be online unless they delete them. So
Right.
that's pretty weird to think about. You know,
Yeah.
100 years if technology is still the same, like it'll still be out there.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
thinking about with our merch, like, you know, some guy one day is gonna be at Goodwill,
Right.
yeah, our face, you know,
Exactly.
and be like,
It's probably already there.
Yeah.
who the fuck are those guys? Like,
That'd be so
Aw.
amazing. Imagine going to the Goodwill and finding it now. That'd be so cool.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That'd be so
If
cool.
that was me that found it, I would look it up and then I would listen to it. I'd be like, oh my God, it's fucking vintage podcast. Like, wow.
Vintage podcast merch is going to be like a YouTube thing in 20 years.
Yeah, right. Totally.
and for me, I just want to be remembered for a guy that was fun to hang out with. Like, I want people to be like, oh, that guy, he had great stories and he was awesome to be with. Like, that's all
Yeah.
I really want to
You
be
have
remembered
great
for.
stories.
Fucking
Fucking ladies, man, right here.
not anymore, but there
Come
was a
on,
time.
Steve.
But thinking to what like Todd and Joe were saying, God, sometimes I try to put myself in my parents' shoes of what it was like dealing with me, and I cringe. I just can't even think about it. Like,
Yeah.
I think of a situation one time where two of my buddies, they're 18 years old, and in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m, they got into my house because they had my key and went into my parents' bedroom
Oh my
like
gosh.
to wake them up because I was so wasted
Oh my word.
that they wanted to make sure I was okay. And that, just to make sure I don't die in my sleep from, choking on my own vomit. So I put myself in that position where now I get woken up by two 18-year-old guys in bed.
It's like a home invasion movie.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's a different time, it's in the
I
90s.
guess.
So it's just, oh my God. And I just cringe thinking about it.
Honestly, was it different? Because my kids call me helicopter dad because if they go across the street, I'm like looking out, He's like, and they're like, they like me telling stories about when I was a kid, and like when I speak it out loud, I'm like, I was like really stupid. Like we would play like Water Wars, right, where the object of the game was to hold your opponent underwater until like he taps out,
Right.
essentially drowning your
God.
friends,
Uh-huh.
and then riding your bike to like the town square. Like I'm hell no, they're not. They ride the bike to the park. I'm like, where the fuck are they? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, were they that different, or did we just not realize it was, dangerous or whatever?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I just think it's like a different world. But I mean, there was like obviously like kidnappers and stuff and like bad people back then. But I don't know. My parents just let me go like out. They were like, all right, when the street lights come on, just like make sure you get home once they come on and out. And then you just like go out and play all day. Like, I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. It's different times now. I wouldn't trust like my kids to like be out at like 10, 11 years old by themselves nowadays.
You think it's just because we know about it because of the internet? It's like,
yeah, probably the
back
internet
then we
probably
just didn't
scared.
know. It was kind of,
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it was just as bad.
Oh yeah.
We just didn't know about it because there was no way to report it.
Right.
All right, moving on. If you were a candle, what scent would you be?
Love it.
Who asked that? Is that
Still Chuck?
Chuck?
I love that.
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
Candle.
Okay, I'll go first. I would be a candle that smells like it would smell like pumpkins, vanilla, sprinkle a little sugar on top, and just a little bit of patchouli.
What is patchouli? What's that smell like?
It's kind of like people think it's like the general like generic incense smell, but it's I don't know how to describe it, but it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know either, Todd, until I met Sam. What the hell patchouli was? I was like,
patchouli.
But it does smell very nice, though. Yeah, I would say what Sam said. The incense.
Like they used to say,
sure.
"Oh, hippies smell like patchouli," but I think
the
that
hippie smell. You
I think that's like
okay.
not. You can't say that anymore. I think
You can say hippie. Hippie is like an endearing term.
No, but you're generalizing all the hippies.
If you're any hippies listening, we love you.
I
want Sam.
I'm down with the hippies.
I had an aunt that was a hippie. She was really nice.
Yeah. We were in Lush yesterday, Sam, and it said like hippies, like so. I feel like it's still like an endearing term. I think Todd's right.
All right.
Yeah. I like that sound of Sam's candle though. It smells.
Yeah,
it
it sounds lovely.
You can get yours at HalloweenHappySam.com.
Mine would probably just smell like Old Spice deodorant and body wash because that's like what I use on everything. But if it was my work candle, I would smell like oil and electricity, like burnt, like
in tears.
and tears.
When was the last time you got shocked? Like, is it
and a railroad? Actually, no, I got shocked last week at work.
Oof.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Careful, man.
It was time. Yeah, it was just a little jolt. Gave me a little jump. My fingers tingled for like 10.
Remind you that you're working.
It reminds you that what you're doing is dangerous sometimes, for sure. Yeah, because like obviously like you can't hear electricity and you can't see it, and then all of a sudden you just feel it and you're like, oh fuck. But luckily I don't work with anything like too extreme. But yeah, hey, every once in a while you're working on stuff that definitely could kill you.
Let's see, scent. Let's just do like a sugar cookie. I like sugar cookie scent. That sounds like a warm sugar cookie.
I like that.
It's tough to say. I mean, my favorite smell, and I think I said this in the past, is the
Sex shop
combination
for Steve.
No. It's the combination of coffee and new book, because when I worked at a bookstore, we had a Starbucks in our bookstore, and that was the smell that I came into
Ooh.
work every morning, because they were like brewing their fresh coffee and all the new books were coming out, because we
Great answer.
I love that.
so that'd be my smell, because I've never like replicated that smell outside of a bookstore. So
Mhm.
I think it'd be cool if you can bottle that up and sell it as a candle.
Are you a fan of old book smell? Because I fucking love old books.
Yes, because it reminds me of like hunting for, like treasure hunting, essentially, at flea markets and stuff like that. It has a certain like
It's a musk.
a musk.
It's
Yeah.
like a catnip. It makes me go like, it makes me high
Oh.
off books. I'm like, oh,
Yeah. Except I hate it when you could smell like cigarettes on the books.
oh yes,
That's
yeah,
yeah.
gross.
All right. And his last question, Sam. I need that food pairing, please, or else I'm going to just chew on a wax Coke bottle candy.
No, why can't you chew on that? I love that stuff.
I was actually down with that stuff too. Yeah. The juice ones though.
And like the wax lips and
What is
stuff.
it? What is it?
Like those
Like the-
wax bottles that had like
Wax
juice and
bottles.
stuff.
The wax Coke bottles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've seen this.
Like what? The little candy, like,
The little tiny ones that are like an inch.
yeah. And it's like
I'm
wax.
about to Google it.
You like bite off the top and then like you suck the juice out.
No, I don't think I've ever had one.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
wax Coke, wax Coke candy. Huh, interesting. Nope, never had those.
They were nothing great.
What?
But they were all right. They were fun because you just like would chew on the wax.
They're 134 years old though. They were first developed in 1886.
Wow. Classic.
This is tough. I'm gonna go with, I feel like you gotta do like hot dogs or something because they're like camping out before they go to the football game. Well, they don't make it to the football game for the
Spoiler
movie,
alert.
but spoiler. Maybe they do. Maybe they just go back home. I don't know. I don't
Isn't there
have-
like a isn't there like a wax coating over hot dogs? I feel it feels like there is.
God, who
Hot
knows
dogs
what's
are
over a hot
wax.
dog? Yeah.
There's like a casing, like a waxy casing on them.
All right. Next question is from our very good buddy Steve. What is the best candy and what is the worst candy?
It's from you.
It is. We were discussing something on our Discord, and I thought and a bunch of people answered it, so I figured I'd ask you guys too.
You're silly.
Such a tough question. Like I love candy so much. It's tough to pick like my favorite.
You got a little sweet tooth?
So let's
do,
exclude
yeah.
chocolate, because I feel like chocolate's a
Okay.
whole other category.
No
Chocolate was See, I would have went with like a caramello bar, which
Yeah.
I love.
So yeah, I think that's a whole other discussion. So let's go strictly non-chocolate candy.
non-chocolate candy. Okay, I would probably go Swedish Fish. I really love Swedish Fish.
Huh, I never heard that before.
Mhm. They're delicious.
What about least favorite?
Least favorite? So we're going like gummies stuff, like because like
Any
chocolate, I would say like
Candy.
Mounds
Sour,
or like
sugar,
almond
yeah.
joys and shit.
No chocolate.
No
No
chocolate.
chocolate. That's tough because like I like anything else. Like
What about black
Okay,
licorice? You like black
maybe-
licorice?
I hate black licorice. Yeah, so
Alright.
that's a good.
There you go.
Thank you.
Welcome. I think Starbursts are really good. Can't go wrong with Starburst. And then I was gonna say anything coconut related is disgusting. I think black licorice is that's gross. I forget what country like really likes that. It might be Norway or Denmark or something, but one of those
Black
countries.
licorice.
Yeah.
So my home province of Quebec are huge fans of black
Ugh.
licorice, and I'm not going to say what it is, but what they name black licorice is super offensive. So
I can
shame
only
on
guess.
you
Shame on you.
Jesus.
Surprised they haven't changed it yet then.
guys. They probably have, but if you ask like someone that's older, like my grandparents, they're going to say, "Oh yeah, we used to eat,
Get
those."
a life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Skittles. I love me some Skittles, especially like pouring the whole bag in my mouth and just letting all of the like flavors they just all combine, and then you drink a little bit of water and you just go and you like swish it around your mouth. It's so good.
And are we talking about classic?
Classic
Tropical,
for sure.
sour?
No,
Okay.
tropical is garbage. So is the
I agree.
fucking purple bag. Is that tropical?
I think that's a purple. Yeah, I think
The
I'm thinking of the
purple
purple bag.
bag,
I think
the
it's tropical.
teal bag, the green, the lime green bag. Like, get the hell out of here. No one wants you.
Classic red only.
Classic red only. And if I was choosing anything else besides those colors being the worst candy, it would be any like artificial watermelon flavor, like a Jolly Rancher.
For me, I would say I like these, like, there's, I don't know what they call them, especially around for you guys, but they're like these honey balls. They're basically like a hard piece of honey. So that's something that was popular here. I don't know how popular it is where you guys are. So I always really like that. And as far as what I hate, and this is going to be controversial because I love looking at it, but I absolutely fucking think eating it is disgusting, and that's candy corn. I just can't with candy corn. It's super, like, I love seeing candy corn because it reminds me of Halloween and it puts me in the spirit, and I love like candy corn items, but the actual flavor of candy corn to me is disgusting, and I can't believe people actually eat it.
I can eat like 10, and then after that I'm grossed out.
All right, moving on. So next question is from Weezerface. Have you ever been to a wax museum? If so, which wax figure looked most like it was alive?
Ooh, so there's a great wax museum, which we've talked about many times here in Salem, called Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery. And they have a Pennywise, Tim Curry Pennywise in there. And the eyes like are amazing on it. And it literally looks like he's alive. It's amazing.
Not wax though.
I mean, they're wax, aren't they? Close enough.
He
She's
stares into
asking
your
about a
soul.
wax house.
I mean, what would you call it?
I'd say it's a wax
Monster museum.
figure.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what else would they're close enough to wax like figures, you know?
No, if someone was giving a tour of their horror collection, they wouldn't be like, "Here's my wax figure of Jason Voorhees."
Okay.
It'd
Well,
be, "Here's my life size. Here's my," right?
I mean, but they're like more in like they're not like your normal like everyday like animatronic like thing.
Well,
I mean,
maybe
I
they
don't
want to
know
know.
what you
Maybe
would
they
call
want to know
them.
if you've actually been to a wax museum, though.
I have. I've been to Madame Tussauds in
So
New
who
York
look-
City.
So see, why can't you
Um,
just answer with that?
Well, because I was trying to do a horror person.
No,
Because
you
like
were trying to be special and fun and cool. Like, just answer the question. No, I'm kidding.
I can't remember. It was so long ago, so that's why I didn't say that, Sam. So
I know it's okay. I'm just giving you
give
shit.
me a hard time.
I can't even remember if I've ever been to a wax museum.
I have. There's one in Las Vegas that's really cool. I forget what it's called though. But they did have a underground House of Horrors, which is really neat. I remember
How
they had
fun.
Leatherface up there. I think Michael.
But was it made out of wax, Todd?
It was a legit wax museum. Yeah.
Oh my god.
What was it called, man? It was something. It's probably still there because Vegas is obviously pretty crowded.
That's so cool.
Most realistic was probably like something like The Rock or Tom Cruise or something. Those are like really good. So, yeah, gotta Google that. That's pretty cool.
So I have been to a wax museum in Niagara Falls, and
I've been to that one too.
Yeah, there's a few of them in Niagara Falls. So I'm actually going
I thought
there.
you didn't remember. Just joking.
Yeah, I'm actually going there in 3 weeks on vacation since I can't go to the US, and I will report back as to which one looks the most real. But from memory, because the last time I went was probably like 2003, 2004, would have been Robert Wadlow, who's the world's tallest person in history. They have a like life-size wax figure of him, both at the Guinness World Book of Records Museum and at the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. And he looks like really detailed and really good. And he's a photo op at the front of the museum to get people in. So
Steve, the wax museum I went to in Niagara Falls, like all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, it turns into like a haunted house. Like, I don't know if you went into that one or not, but I mean,
it was at Frankenstein's castle.
No, I mean, it was just like a normal wax museum, and then all of a sudden you just go into this like area that like becomes like a legit haunted house, and I'm like, wow, this is random as hell, but it was cool. Like, and I think they had the crypt keeper in there and like a couple other characters.
Yeah, I can't wait. I haven't been there in like 20 years, so I'm really looking forward to
Nice.
seeing what they have and stuff like that. So I'll report
gotta
back
go to-
when I get back on that.
You got to go to Nightmares.
Yeah, they're called Screamers now, but yeah.
Oh, Screamers. They changed their name.
Yeah, but yeah, I've been like back in the day. Actually, the biggest scare I ever had at a haunt house was Niagara Falls at one of the nightmares places that I'll never forget, because there you're in complete pitch dark. Like it's pitch dark, and all you have to like find yourself is this little red dot that you're supposed to follow. And there's one of the haunted houses, because they have 4 levels. Like you decide which, like how intense you want it to be. And at the most intense level, we were in a group of 4, and all of a sudden hands start like grabbing us and like all this commotion, and then they cut us off from the rest of the group, so you have to do the house alone, which I thought was great, because the other people were just basically clinging me the whole time. So it was great to have the freedom. And I was there in the pitch black, and you're kind of touching around, to kind of find where you are. And then I'm looking for the red dot to try to situate myself, and all of a sudden this like loud fucking Mack truck noise, and I see like 2 lights, and it's coming right towards me, like a truck barreling right towards me, and it stops right in front of you, and it's just like, holy shit. That was amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, good times.
That sounds frightening.
It was great. And then her next question for Steve and everyone: what would a House of Wax haunted attraction look like?
Not everyone at once now.
Well, you're the one that always has to go first.
Yeah, we
I'm
have
not going.
That's
That's
not true. We have an unofficial like
The pecking order.
There you go. I don't speak before Joe because he gets mad and he gives me a side eye.
I
So
know.
it's,
Same.
Because everyone's quiet, so I just try
No.
to jump in.
Because we know your loud ass mouth is gonna start talking first. Damn.
All right, well, I'll be quiet. I'm gonna go last on all the rest of these questions.
may
so you guys
I
go for
answer,
it.
Joe?
All
Yeah.
right, let's let Todd go first.
What would my wax museum look like?
No,
Is that the question?
what would the house, like House of Wax, the movies, if it was a haunted attraction, what would it look like?
Oh.
I
But
like.
you could say that too if
I think the layout of the remake is really cool. Like the whole town
Mhm.
thing and how they go in the theater was really sweet. That's my favorite part of the movie is actually like the whole layout. So I think if you got I think you got cool set pieces like in the haunted attractions at amusement parks. They always have like different themed areas. So I think if you kind of do that like they did with the movie, like you walk to the gas station, then you walk down the street, and then you go to the church. I think just like the movie was pretty much. It was really
Mhm.
effective.
I think so too. And especially like when she's underneath the table in the house, like that just is so scary to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be cool to see kind of, just have you start it as a regular town, but every once in a while, one of the like figures is actually a person and scares you. And then it slowly gets into like the bowels of the town, like kind of in the movie where it gets scarier and scarier, more like dungeon like, and then it ends in the same climax as the film, which we'll talk about at the end. So I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. Mine would be from the original House of Wax. It would just be the guy with the ping pong paddle, just like flying it at your face. for,
Like that would
like,
have
10
bugged me
minutes.
if I was outside. Like, dude, fuck off with your paddle. Leave me alone. Is that some popcorn in your mouth? There we are. Watch out. Shut up.
And her last question: what horror character trope do you relate to the most, or is it, or is just your favorite? Think Cabin in the Woods, the whore, the athlete, the scholar, the fool, the virgin. I'm the fool 100%.
Who are we out of the horror troops?
Yeah, or what's like character trope or you relate to the most? But if you want to use one of those, it'd be the whore, athlete, scholar, fool, or virgin.
Definitely virgin. Because Joe hasn't taken my virginity yet. So, fingers crossed.
Okay, so we have to choose out of those. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, originally she said it could be anyone, but let's just use those for reference.
Okay, who is it again?
It's the whore, the athlete, the scholar, the fool, or the virgin.
I guess I'll be the virgin as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd also be the virgin for sure.
Ooh. So we all live.
Boy, you would be the fool. Stop lying to yourself.
All right. I mean, if we're
I'm
like
just
high school,
teasing everyone.
if we're high school kids, I would definitely be the virgin because I was a fucking loser back then.
I'd probably
No,
be the
you
nerd if we were
weren't.
high school because I
Stop.
was really in the movies,
Yeah,
I'd probably be the
yeah.
nerd.
The horror, yeah, the horror nerd or something. Yeah, like I'd be definitely the Randy type guy,
Yeah.
which he was a virgin too. So hey, horror
Yeah.
nerd virgin.
All right.
High school of me would probably be the athlete because I was
Ooh.
like captain of my high school football, not football, sorry, volleyball team, which is the only sport we had. But like adult me would be probably the scholar, I guess. Just trying to think the smart way through these things because I feel like I would survive House of Wax if I had been in the same situation. But that's I'll talk about that during the review. Next one's from Allie. Are there any horror anthologies that don't have sex scenes beside the popular ones? I like to watch scary movies with my dad, and I was going to put on Body Bags yesterday, totally forgetting that violent scene with Twiggy and Mark Hamill. Oh my fucking God.
There's quite a bit. There's quite a bit of the Hammer ones that don't have any sex in it. Tales from the Crypt, the original, doesn't have any sex in it, so you can start there. It's got who's in that? It might be Christopher Lee. I'm probably wrong about that, but it's a good one.
I can't think of anything. So I agree with Todd and Joe,
I didn't say anything yet.
but I'm going to agree because I'm sure you'll have a suggestion as well.
Yeah. Is there any sex? Oh yeah, Trick or Treat has like the sexy werewolf scene.
What about Cat's Eye? Does that have sex in it?
No, I'm not that. Creepshow did. Creepshow 2. Oh yeah, no, he like rapes her on. There's like that rape scene on the raft that's like really like disturbing. That yeah, I don't know. She's actually, yeah, I can't think of any either now that you mentioned. There's one called Southbound that's like pretty decent. That doesn't have any sex that I can remember, but then you'll probably go and watch it and there will be, so I apologize.
I don't think this one did. Did Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark have any sex scenes?
Does that count as an anthology though?
Kind of,
I guess
right?
it sort of does, right? Yeah.
I mean, separate stories. It's
Yeah.
Or the Creepshow TV show. If you want to watch something that's very sexless and
Or American Horror Stories if you want to watch trash TV.
Right?
No, they have sex in them.
Yeah, most of them do. Yeah, you're right.
All right, and the last question is from Odd Job versus 007. Did anyone on the pod see the remake of House of Wax in theaters, and did you just go to see Paris Hilton get murdered?
I don't think she's that terrible.
Exactly.
But I did watch her couple earlier releases.
I bet you did, Totter.
A few times.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. I think it was a DVD.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know why. See, this is like when I was a senior, so I should have saw it, but I don't remember if I did.
Yeah. I saw it in theater and it was amazing.
You just like Chad Michael Murray. Let's be honest.
Yeah, right. It's Jared
Padalecki.
Padalecki, please.
Oh, that's your go-to out of this one?
Yeah, like let me jump on you and hang on tight, buddy.
Yeah, no, I skipped this one mainly because Paris Hilton was in it. Like, I was like, man, Paris Hilton in a horror movie, it's gonna be fucking terrible. It's gonna be garbage. So
I guarantee you watched her other videos though.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously, One Night in Paris.
There you go.
Not?
Classic.
Was there more than one?
No.
Was there more than one? I remember two different
Paris
scenes.
Hilton's. Same movie.
Same movie.
No,
Okay.
Steve's coming through with the
Steve rented it out to people.
You know how much money I made off that movie? It's like ridiculous.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, I made hundreds, if not thousands of dollars off that movie. So yes, I made commission on selling that movie to people, and we
because at your job. Okay, I was thinking you were like selling it online, like
black market.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
My boss didn't believe me that it would sell, and I said, okay, if I order them with my own money for the first two copies, I'll make the profit off those two, but everything after that, I'll make 25% of the profit. And he said, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. So I bought the first two with my money. We bought it for $18 from our distributor. We sold it for $100, and we sold well over 100 copies. So
$100 for that?
Wow,
that's insane.
Yeah, it's like early internet, so
man.
videos were tough to get. So yeah, we sold over 100 copies of that.
Wow.
So People
It's
are
hot.
really. It was a yeah.
That's hot.
That's hot.
That's hot.
As for House of Wax, I did not see it in the theaters for the same reason as Joe. I felt at the time that because Paris Hilton was in it, I couldn't take it seriously as a horror movie. You know, I didn't really understand how movies worked. If some like it was the way it was marketed that I didn't really like, and also I really don't like Alicia Cuthbert for personal reasons.
Oh yeah,
so-
we remember from last week's episode.
Well, they didn't hear it. It was after we.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, Steve cut it out because he was talking so much shit.
No, it's because it was after the episode we talked about it. But
Oh, it was?
long
Just
story
joking. I don't know
short,
what I'm talking about.
I have friends who know her. I've met her. She is not a great person. So that's what I'm gonna say.
Oh, you heard it
But
here first.
I would watch her videos if she made them.
What? Like you're telling me you didn't watch
She's
Girl
super
Next
hot,
Door?
man. I love that movie. With your boyfriend too. He's in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Emil
Yeah.
Hirsch.
Who's a woman beater, but we won't go there.
Oh,
I take back that whistle. let me flip it and reverse it.
what's Alicia Cuthbert up to these days?
She's on TV shows.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last show that I watched with her, she might be doing something new, but what's the one where it was like her and her friends? Steve, do you know which one I'm talking about?
No.
Happily something. I don't know. Okay, fine. Steve hates her, so he's not gonna.
Honestly,
All right, never
after House of Wax, I don't think I've ever seen her in something else. Or when 24 was. I don't remember if it was before or after House of Wax, but
Hmm.
24, House of Wax, Girl Next Door, and the show that I knew her from, which is Popular Mechanics for Kids, which is a Canadian show that she was on with Jay Baruchel, actually. Yeah, that's what I knew her from. So thank you all for the questions. We can't do the segment without you. And now a word from our deadly sponsor.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
What watched? Sam. Anything? Any titles?
Nothing on my. Wait, are we gonna talk about American Horror Story, Joe?
Sure.
All right. So I don't think it was last week, but our last what watched, Joe and I talked about how we were trying out the new American Horror Stories, and so far the drive-in has been my best, my favorite. You can talk about it because I feel like you liked it more than I did.
I was going to talk about the Danny Trejo one first.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. Should we just skip over that?
Was that the
one?
Christmas one?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and do that then. That's fine.
Yeah. So first one we watched was one about these, I can't remember the name of it. Doesn't matter. But yeah, it's about a group of influencers that like live in a house together. Think the Paul brothers, for those
Hype
of you
House.
who know like Logan Paul and Jake Paul or whatever. It follows like these group of 4 kids who, you know, they're like dude bros. They're, you know, make all these like really shitty videos that people seem to love for whatever reason, and get tons of views. So what they end up doing is they go out and they film a person committing suicide off a bridge, thinking it's gonna like, you know, take off and get them a ton of views. Obviously that backfires on them. They end up being like canceled essentially. So they're like, fuck, we have to go out and like do something to like make ourselves look better. But they don't. They end up going to a mall with a store Santa, played by none other than our boy Danny Trejo, and decide to tell all like the children that Santa isn't real and whatnot. It makes them look even worse. And yeah, Trejo gets upset and he's like, "You're gonna pay for this," basically. And what we come to find out is that Danny Trejo is actually a serial murderer. He goes around, kills store Santas every year, and you know, takes over their thing. And the rest of the episode is Danny Trejo killing all of these annoying influencers the whole way through. You know, it's like has its fun moments, but it takes so long to get there that like basically you know, 3/4 of the episode is just following these really annoying like dude bros. So it's just like too much of that. When the Trejo stuff happens, it is pretty fun, but by that point, it was kind of like I was kind of over it. So, yeah.
But the kills weren't even that great. Like it was a waste of time. So
That's it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. This one is a 1973 Italian film called La Orgia de los Muertos, which is the orgy of the living dead, also known as the hanging woman. Basically, this guy goes to this little Scottish village, and he finds a girl hanging, and he's like going around like, "There's a girl hanging," and like no one cares. So he's like, "What the fuck's wrong with all you guys?" It turns out like there's some shady shit happening in the town. People like murder people and then bury them and then like lie about it, things like that. Honestly lost interest into it because like it was just really boring. There was some cool undead stuff that happened towards the end, but at that point I was already on my phone looking at other stuff and that was just playing in the background, so I didn't really like it. But there's a Blu-ray from Full Moon that put it out, and I mean if you're into Full Moon, it's definitely not a Full Moon movie, they just picked up the title, but if you're trying to complete like your Italian/Spanish films, you can check it out. Otherwise, skip it. So, The Hanging Woman, or also known as The Orgy of the Living Dead.
All right. My first one is a movie I had been anticipating for a long time based off Joe's glowing review sometime last year. And that is 2020's A Nun's Curse over on Amazon Prime. This stars Felissa Rose and Damien Maffei. It's about a group of people who are taking like photography in the woods, and all of a sudden, for some stupid reason, they have to stay overnight in the woods. So they go to this old school that a killer nun used to be at, and she used to kill like inmates. I think it was like a prison or a reform school or something. And once they go there, they start getting picked off by the killer nun, which is played by Felissa Rose, and Damien Maffei is one of the guys that's in the group. Oh my god, this movie sucks. It is so bad. Like I could barely find anything good to say about this movie. I always love seeing Damien Maffei and Felissa Rose, but wow, this one is just bad. The acting is awful. The situations they put themselves in is really bad. The makeup is not that great. It's just, I cannot tell you to avoid this movie more. If you're a sucker for punishment like I am, maybe check it out. But honestly, there are a ton of other stuff you should watch before this one. So that's A Nun's Curse on.
What makes it bad?
Everything.
It's a 2.0 out of 5 on Letterboxd, so not the worst.
Letterboxd ratings sometimes are way too high. The ending is so fucking bad. Like it's so bad. Like it ruins the movie sucked anyway, but the ending makes it like offensively bad to me.
Yeah, they're like, so Joe gave it a 0.5 star out of 5.
Yeah,
there are a couple like hints of semi good scenes in here where the nun is like a little bit scary in the background, but it's so like it's filmed so amateurly, like it just it's tough to get into this one. But I gave it 1 star just because there are a couple like nun scary scenes, and I'm all about the nun scary scenes. So yeah, it's just oh my god, it's bad.
I'm pretty sure it was in my bottom 3 last year too.
Yeah, deserving.
Yeah. All right, Sam, you want to talk the other American Horror Story episode we watched?
I don't know if I should, because I'm not going to have great things to say about it. Shocker, I know. So yeah. I feel like Joe really was getting a boner for this episode. Okay, so this next episode, I can't remember what it's called. I really don't care, nor should you. The main thing that you should probably know is that it has Billy Lord in it, which is from Scream Queens, also all the other seasons from American Horror Story. And I think it's just me, but I feel like she's literally the same person in all of her roles. And so I was over it a few years ago, but it's fine, whatever. So it's about this couple. They're married. They have been trying to have a baby for a long time. So now they are at the stage of doing, I don't remember what the procedure is called, but it's where they take like his sperm, her egg, get it together going on, and then they insert it in her. So she's having like a really hard time getting pregnant. It's not working. The doctor's like, maybe you should think about like your other options. And she's like, I don't want to do adoption. Like, I want to be pregnant. I want to know what it feels like. So then she's leaving this appointment. She ends up going past the receptionist desk, and the receptionist is like, hey, I don't know if I should say this, but maybe try this little like trinket, like it's a little demon looking guy. And she's like, here, maybe you should try this and fucking put it under your fucking bed. So then you become pregnant, because that's a great fucking idea. Never heard of that before. So anyway, she takes it, puts it under her bed, has a crazy night of sex with her husband. She ends up getting pregnant, and I'll let Joe step in.
Yeah. So she gets pregnant, and she basically, we flash forward to like 13 months later, where she has like severe PTSD and is really regretting basically having the baby. But then she starts like having visions of like Satan in the baby's bedroom and stuff like that. So she starts like obsessing over that. And people think she's just crazy and whatnot. And basically we follow her breakdown, essentially, her like mental breakdown throughout the rest of the episode. And I don't want to spoil it. There's like a pretty big twist in here. If you end up watching it. I hated this episode. It started well, but the ending is so fucking bad. If they just made the ending like even like decent, I'd be like, it's a passable episode. But the ending was just so fucking stupid that I just couldn't go through it. And honestly, like this episode made me be like, I don't know if I want to keep watching like any more episodes of this series. Because there hasn't been much good, honestly. I did enjoy the first episode, but after that, it's been all downhill for me. I would be surprised if this gets picked up for a second season the way these
Already
episodes
has
have been going. It did. Okay, I'm shocked.
Yeah, and it's funny. Your description right there was basically how I would summarize all of American Horror Story. It starts really well, and then they just fuck up the ending, and then you don't want to watch the next season, but somehow you sucker yourself into watching it anyway.
It's true. It's like, enough already. Like, stop it. It's like, because you listening, you keep watching it. I keep watching it. Like, they're literally sucking our teats for all the money. Like, enough. Let's boycott American Horror Story.
It's a good
unless Evan
point.
Peterson's involved.
No, it's a good point. I don't know why I keep going back to this well. That's pretty dry. Like, but for some reason, like I'm always like, maybe they can be better. Like maybe something. Like I keep going back. Like I loved Murder House. Like I loved that season, and the first like few seasons were pretty good, but it's just been all garbage ever since. But I mean, I'll still keep giving it a try. And obviously they're sucking me in. And they're sucking me in for next season with Macaulay Culkin coming on this season. So I'm like, well, I gotta watch now because Macaulay Culkin's in it. So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. And I also was liking the beginning of this episode, but how it ended, I was like, what the fuck? So I ended up watching the next one, which I'm not going to get into it. I'll wait until Joe watches it and we'll talk about it next week. But I told Joe, I was like, I think he's going to like this one. And it's like, so far, it's one of the other ones that I like. If I had to choose, it's like, find this one and then also the drive-in one. But damn.
Sounds like the same thing from you guys every week. Like, hey, it sucks, blah, blah, blah. Then
why do we
keep
do
going
this
back
to ourselves? It's our own fault.
It's like Steve with his obsession with everything on Tubi. Like, stop.
It's true. No, it's like the Evil Bong movies.
You guys, man, it sucks. All right. So I looking at my diary here on Letterboxd. It's all freaking Italian movies. I don't know what I'm doing. But Dario Argento's 1970s The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Funky ass name, but a really good movie. So basically, every single Italian movie slasher is the same. There's always a killer that you don't know who it is, and you follow the cops as well as a main character investigating who it is. Same exact setup for this one, although it's really cool. This gentleman's walking by. He's an American in Italy, and he's like a photographer, a writer, something creative, right? So he's over there chilling because someone's like, hey, go to Italy. It's really fun. You'll have a great time. So he's walking by this really weird art exhibit, and he sees a man attacking a woman. So he like runs to her aid, but it's like a weird kind of mirror or a like giant window setup. So he goes in there. He's trying to get in. Another window closes behind him and locks him in essentially to this little room, and he has to watch this guy murder this female. then the cops come and are like, bullshit, you're making, like, you just couldn't get away from your own murder scene, you're the killer, and things like that. So eventually, like, he clears his name and they start investigating who this killer is, and it's like, um the underground art scene. There's got some like bad boy artist hippies, no offense, and just a lot of like traditional Italian stuff. There's some really strange character choices in this. Like, for example, early on, they're saying like they're um he's a main suspect to be the killer, right? Because he was the only witness. And then he's attacked on the streets in front of multiple witnesses, and they're trying to cut his head off like the actual killer. And you would think like, oh, I can clear my name, I got a witness, I'm gonna go tell the cops what happened. No, he just keeps it to himself and goes along with his day, doesn't tell anybody. Idiot. And then the police too invite this writer, photographer, something like that. The character, they invite him into every single aspect of the investigation. Like, wait a minute, this guy's your number one suspect. Plus, it's not like he's a cop from America or anything like that. He's a writer. He's an artist guy, and they're letting him like into the crime lab to look at evidence, into like this new age sound system that they're trying to decipher, like the recordings to see the voice. Like, what are you doing, police? This is why you guys can't catch him. Dario Argento, he's never been my like a go-to director. I think he's pretty hit or miss, but this one's definitely pretty good. So The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, 1970, on Blu-ray. I didn't watch it digital.
Awesome. All right, so I'll do my last one, and then Joe will tackle the Last Matinee for the review. So my last one this week is from 2021, and it's called The Stairs. So we got this one as a screener, so I'm assuming it's on VOD for everybody else. And I think it comes out the day that this episode releases. So in this one, a grandfather and grandson go into the woods to go hunting, and they kind of trek along and stuff, and then they shoot a deer and they're going after it. And all of a sudden, the son gets like distracted by something, by some kind of creature that we don't see, and he veers off into the woods on his own, and he finds a perfectly built staircase with chandeliers and everything in the middle of the woods with nothing else around it, which he finds weird. So of course he goes and like steps on it and stuff. Then the creature's kind of telling him to go behind the stairs, which he does, and then the creature grabs him, and then the grandfather is like freaking out. We cut to something like 20 years later, and a group of young adults go camping for the weekend, and they're hiking through the same forest, kind of going towards their campsite, and they find this mysterious set of stairs that's in the middle of the woods, and a bunch of stuff happens. I won't spoil it too much because it's like brand new, but basically it was like an okay film. I think the setup was really good. I was really interested to know more about what the stairs were. We see a little bit of the creature like in quick shots, and I thought that was really cool because he had a cool like makeup and everything, and I was getting really into it. But once you actually find out what the stairs are and you see the creature kind of in full effect, it kind of lost it a little bit on me. The creature didn't look that great, and the stair like thing was kind of disappointing to me. But I think it's a decent watch. If you see it on like Shudder or something, I would say maybe check it out. But I don't know if I'd go like VOD for this one personally. But still, an interesting premise, an interesting film, and something to consider in the future.
All righty. All right. So let's get into our movie for our interview. Of course, we are interviewing the director, Maxi Contenti, at the end of the episode. So stick around for that. But yeah, so this one is The Last Matinee, is going to be released VOD August 24th. But yeah, so this one is about, it's an Argentinian horror film. And yeah, it takes place in the early 90s at a movie theater, basically. Just like a matinee, of course. But yeah, not many people in the movie theater. Like a really shitty American horror movie is playing. And little do we know, a murderer is loose on this movie theater, killing the unsuspecting people in the movie theater. This movie, like, we follow, like, there's like 3 or 4 like mini stories happening like in this movie theater. You have like a group of like young teenagers that are getting drunk before they go in. We have a couple on a first date. We have, who else we got here, Steve?
We have the projectionist's daughter who's taking over for him for the night. We have like the couple people who work at the theater, and then we have like a drunk old man essentially who's in the theater as well. And then there's like a couple people who come into the movie late and stuff, like some girl that comes in alone who was stood up on a date, and a few characters within the movie theater setting.
Yeah, and then we have this murderer, this basically unknown. There's no backstory or anything, and he just shows up and he just starts killing, and but secretly killing. Like, we don't he'll do it, but like the rest of the theater doesn't notice because like it's not a packed theater, so like it's very far away and it's a big theater and stuff, and it kind of all culminates to an ending. But yeah, so yeah, overall, I enjoyed this one for the most part. The movie takes place in the theater the entire time, like it's one setting. And I think for that, like, I was pretty impressed. Like, I was never really bored. I was pretty interested in all of like the interconnecting stories. I did like the main projectionist girl. So yeah, I mean, overall, I had a good time with this. I wish like there was like a little more killing and whatnot, but like the kills that did happen on screen were all pretty great. Like there was like pretty solid gore here. It's definitely like a throwback to like, I felt like old school Giallo movies, which like obviously you get the like there's a huge like Argento poster in the background for Opera that like is prominent in many few of the scenes, and I feel like that was definitely intentional because I was definitely getting those vibes. And the color, man, the cinematography in this movie, that is what stands out to me. Like his use of the director's use of colors in this and whatnot was really good. So yeah, I mean, I gave it 3 out of 5 over on Letterboxd. Is it something I would watch again? Probably not, but I think it's definitely worth like a one-time watch.
Yeah, I mirror everything you said. Same thing. I enjoyed it. I was kind of into it, trying to figure out what was going to happen next and stuff. I do find it was a little bit slow to start. You see the killer come into the theater at the beginning, and then you basically don't see the killer for a long time, even though he's in the theater, but he just disappears for a while, and then eventually makes a return in like the last quarter of the movie. But yeah, it was an interesting film. I love the theater setting. I thought that was really cool. You see different parts of the theater. It's not like just in the theater room. You see the projection room, you see the front booth and stuff like that. So it's not like it's all in one room, but it's in the same building, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, some of the kills are pretty brutal. The killer is pretty sick, and if you watch the movie, you'll know why. So
it's just like greasy and grimy.
Yeah, too. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And there are some similarities between him and the Greasy Strangler, if you think about it, with the stuff he does with the bodies. But anyway, I don't want to say too much because it is a new film, but I think it's worth checking out once. Like Joe, I don't think I'd revisit this one, but I'm definitely not mad that I watched it. So I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
All right, trivia.
Very cool. I was just looking at Paris Hilton trivia, and the Hottie and the Naughty poster is so funny. If you guys haven't seen that in a while,
I remember that movie. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I do remember the poster. Yeah.
Gosh, terrible. All right. Trivia points are as follows. They are: first place, Steve, 77. Second place, Joe, 76. Third place, myself, Todd, 75. Sam, 49. This is game number 31. Ooh, Halloween 31. I like it. Ooh. Who would like to lead?
I'll go.
Ooh, Steven.
All right.
Hottie and the Naughty.
No Paris Hilton. Actually, those questions were sent to me, so I nothing for this movie. So the first one. So thank you to Weezerface for sending me this one. I really appreciate it. In 1976, The Omen, little Damien goes on a fun trip to the zoo. What 2 kinds of animals freak out upon seeing him?
A horse and monkey.
Wrong. You need both. So one of those is correct. I won't say which one.
One of those is correct, eh?
A monkey and a crow.
Wrong.
Okay. How many crows are at the zoo?
Well, it could have just been a bird, on the trees. Who knows?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. In 1976, The Omen, little Damien goes on a fun trip to the zoo. What two kinds of animals freak out upon seeing him?
Okay, and the boys have guessed a monkey.
I did horse and monkey were mine.
I'm gonna say
Monkey and crow is just.
Yeah, one of the two was correct, but I won't say which one.
Well, shit. Do they know which one's correct?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna say the monkey and the lion.
Okay, so I'll give you each one more guess, but I'll tell you that one of them it's technically baboons, but we'll say monkeys, fine. So guess one more zoo animal, you each get one more guess.
Oh, I'm going the monkey and a bear.
Wrong.
Ugh.
Monkey?
Zebra.
Wrong. 10 to go.
I'm
I was
really
gonna
stuck
say
on the horse stuff.
I was gonna say monkey and gorilla, but those are both.
No, it's
you
not
know,
another.
similar.
Yeah.
All right, monkey and
You already guessed.
You said gorilla.
no,
Yeah,
I
but-
said I was gonna say
yeah.
gorilla, but I
Oh,
No,
I was
but
gonna say
you waited
fucking
for
fish too.
Exactly. You waited for Steve to give you the no.
fine. Monkey, fine. Wait, monkey
Fish.
and a. Would you say a fish?
Yeah, fish got upset.
No, Todd.
I don't even.
Let's
know
try
anymore.
to detective work this. Okay, let's think about something you can train to be upset in a movie. So we got the primates down because you can train those. What else can you train?
All right, I'm
What
going.
about an elephant?
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay, no, it's not an elephant.
Dang it. What is it?
So it was
I
actually
can't take it.
a baboon and a giraffe.
Arson.
I kept
Damn
thinking
it.
giraffe, but I was like,
No.
Darn
There
it.
you go. So thank you, Wheelerface. That was good. But yeah, I wouldn't expect a giraffe like giraffes either to get, especially like teaching them to do that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's all for you, Damien. Okay. And the hottie and the naughty. Okay, I got one. I got multiple, so I'm gonna steal one each from you guys, and I'm gonna do a Todd Condit original. So this is from Weezer Face, and she says, "I'm not gonna use your hard one, but Invasion of the Body Snatchers came out in 1956. What year was the first remake for that movie?"
84.
84 is on the board.
77.
Yeah, it was
77's out there too.
82.
I think it was earlier in 84. Now I think about it.
It was definitely in the 70s. Joe was
Yeah.
so close. It was 1978.
Mm.
Fun fact, it was remade in 93 and then back again in 2007. So
Nice.
yeah.
I
remade
don't think
quite
I've
a
seen
bit.
any of them.
I think the last one was, I want to say Nicole Kidman. No, it was like Monica Potter. One of those like girls that looks like that was in there.
It was Donald Sutherland, right, in the first remake?
In the 70s one, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go next. This one is from Katie over on our Discord. So, what is the tall man's name from the Phantasm franchise?
Like the actor?
I'm
No,
just gonna
the
go
character
jump
has
off
a
a
name.
Character's name.
Oh,
We've had this before.
Puffer Bridge.
Is it- Christ.
Angus Shrem.
Yeah. Gregory.
All right, Sam, you want to guess?
Roger.
No.
I don't remember.
And she used this because last week we kept saying the name
Failure.
Jedi.
Is it Jebediah? Really?
It's
It's-
Jebediah
no way.
Morningside.
Oh wow.
Jedi.
Morningside.
Yeah.
Jedi.
Jedediah could have fit in with the House of Wax remake for sure.
Oh,
Aw.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Jedediah.
Jeddah. All right, my turn. All right. I got so many questions. Which one should I do first? All right, this one's from Katie. Shout out to Katie. What famous actor helped produce The Greasy Strangler?
Oh, it's Elijah. Wood.
Elijah Wood. Shit.
Good
Steve
job,
Steve got it first. Yeah.
Steve
We-
Puff,
we-
right?
Which, by the way, for those of you guys who are Elijah Wood fans, he just appeared on Hot Ones, and I can't wait to watch
He did.
it.
I also have it on my watch later.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we actually talked to Sky Elabar about that, about having Elijah Wood.
What did he say about Elijah?
That he's awesome, basically, if I remember. Or maybe we didn't talk to him, and I read that in an interview before. But anyway,
Same thing.
Close enough.
yeah. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
They all mix together, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes to us from Kayla. Have you checked the children lately? Was what the caller on the phone and when a stranger calls? What is the name of the character who receives this call?
Oh my God, stop.
Sam, we should know this one.
I know.
Katie.
I was just saying her name.
Not Katie. No.
Trudy?
Wait, is this the original or the remake? Did she say?
She didn't
Trudy.
specify.
I don't know if the
But
names are the
it
same.
might be the same character. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Trudy's House of Wax taught her.
Yeah.
Oh my
Darn.
God. Danielle?
No, you guys want another guess or?
Susan.
Mhm. No.
I was just saying her name last episode.
Good.
Yeah, I'm fine.
It was Jill.
Ugh!
Okay. Didn't remember that at all.
Sorry if you're wearing headphones, anyone.
All right.
Jill.
This is from Miss Kayla. Okay. Ooh, should I do a Nightmare on Elm Street or Blair Witch question?
Oh, Christ.
Oh, I like them both.
You know, I won't do one of mine. I'll do both hers. Okay. In A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, which character, I need her character name, died from an asthma attack?
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Lisa.
I can picture her. Does that count? No,
No, you cannot.
She was the nerd. She was the female Urkel character.
She'll be at a con
Denise.
coming up.
Judy.
It is no to both of those. Joe, would you like a guess? Throw a name out there.
God. We just fucking watched it too.
I know.
We're terrible.
We're terrible with names.
Yeah.
Taglines and
know.
names we suck balls
Yeah.
at.
I can't remember.
Sheila.
Sheila.
Ah!
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
Sheila.
All righty. Next question comes from Weezerface. House of Wax
Ooh,
is
House
a
of-
remake. House of Wax 1953 is a remake of what?
Mystery of the Wax
Mystery of the
Museum.
Wax Museum,
Wax Museum.
1993. 1933.
I think
I said-
I think Steve said it first.
No,
did.
Steve didn't say it first.
I did say it first.
1933.
Go back to the
I
tape.
win.
Depressing. What's the point? I'll just stop here. Okay. This question comes from Weezerface, and I want to know, how tall do you think Vincent Price was?
6'4".
It's a tall boy.
That is tall.
6'2".
5'11".
Steve got it. I just wanted to see
Dang.
what you guys were gonna
Oh.
think.
Steve.
Steve's
oh,
on fire
freaking
tonight.
head.
That's my boy. Vincent
6'4"?
Price.
Are you joking?
Yeah,
Let me
he's
come
super
around
tall.
the waist and hold on
Mm.
tight as well.
Steve commanding that first place right now. Oof.
All right. So the next one is also from Kayla. She gave me
Kayla.
two here. I'll give you the easier one of the two. In the movie Psycho, 1960,
Psycho.
not the Vince Vaughn remake, Marion Crane uses what alias to sign the register book at the Bates Motel?
Ooh, nice
question.
question.
Yeah, it is.
Of course, the
Can you
one
say
I
it
know.
again, Steve?
Yeah, in the movie Psycho, Marion Crane uses what alias to sign the register book at the Bates
Oh.
Motel?
Crane Marion.
No.
That'll throw him off.
Mary C.
You're close.
Oh,
Very close, actually.
M. Crane.
No.
Fine.
I don't
Quit.
know.
You guys get up?
Yeah.
Mixie.
It's Mary Samuels.
It's Mary Samuels.
I think Sam should get a point just for getting the
should've-
first
Let's
name.
do it.
No, it's fine. Keep your pity point.
She got half of it.
She did.
I'm good with it.
Just give me a half a point.
There you
I'm
go.
not doing no math.
Give her the full point.
Come on.
All right, hold on. Let me get my point for the monkey question.
Yeah,
Okay, we're good.
Come on, Todd. It's not like I'm gonna be winning, so
All right, back to Stevie. Stevie Wonder.
That was me.
He's point.
That's
Oh,
yours.
it's my turn?
All right.
I think it's
No, it's
mine.
me actually.
Oh, is it your? Okay.
All right, Blair Witch Project. The Blair Witch Project actors all agreed to stay in character while filming. But if they needed a timeout or wanted to comment on something, they would use what code word? This is from Kayla, by the way.
Great question.
Banana.
Banana is on the board, but it's incorrect.
I know.
Lunch meat.
Lunch meat, incorrect.
Which?
Which is incorrect. The correct answer is taco.
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 All
Did not
right.
know that.
I did not know that either.
Not me either.
Alrighty. Last question from me comes tonight from Kayla.
Kayla.
What color dress was Helen wearing when she died? And I know what you did last summer.
Red.
Red on the board.
Who the fuck is Helen?
Green.
Helen was Sarah Michelle Gellar's character.
Oh, wasn't she wearing a bikini when she was killed?
It was like a green color, Joe. Why are you
Yeah, that
acting
was her
like I didn't
boyfriend.
get it right?
Sam says green. Green on the board.
I guess I'll go blue.
Sam is correct. It is green.
Green.
Yeah.
Greeny,
job, Sam.
greeny.
Yes.
Joe, you almost had me shaking in my boots.
All right, Sam, last one.
All right, last one. Okay, so Kayla sent me a few questions, but I'm going to save them for next week. So here's a favorite of your guys'.
No,
trivia
not
questions.
taglines. No.
Tagline. All right, here we go.
Oh my God. I'm going to go. Oh, I'm not going to get a point tonight.
Pray, slay, display.
Housewives.
The Strangers. Pray at night.
What?
The Strangers pray at night.
Oh, okay.
Steve got it right.
Steve got it right.
I should have done a different movie. It's probably on his computer.
No, it's because every week you do the movie we're watching and we never get it.
Well, Todd and
Trickster.
Joe obviously don't pay
also makes sense,
attention.
this one. All right, count those points, boy.
Hold on, I got a bonuser.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
Paris Hilton stars, and this is a real question. Paris Hilton,
Simple Life.
no, Paris Hilton stars in this movie. What other two horror movies does she have under her belt?
Ooh,
Oh,
odd. That is. I don't know of any.
You do.
I do.
I could picture her in one, but I don't know.
Was
No.
she in like Sorority Row?
No,
No.
she was not.
Okay.
Nobody.
I can't think of any.
A scary
Amber
movie?
Sweet. No. Amber
Nope.
Sweet. Ring a bell.
Nothing I can
No.
think of. No.
Repo, the genetic opera.
Oh, yeah.
She
Okay.
plays Amber Sweet, and then she's in a movie called Nine Lives.
Mm.
Okay. I've
Which
actually I've never seen Repo.
Really, I do not like it.
Neither have I. So
Yeah, people love it now. But
she looks like she would be in a scary movie, though, right? Like that's a role you think she'd be in. The series scary movie.
oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Was she in it? Any of the
No,
scary movies?
apparently
No?
not.
Wow. I'm shocked.
Yeah, and
A
exactly.
little fun fact, she also worked later on with Jared Padalecki in an episode of Supernatural where she plays herself
Yeah,
again.
and they make
And she
fun of
dies.
House of Wax, actually, I think, in that
Yep.
episode.
Yeah, it's a fun episode.
All right, Todd, count the points
all
because we don't have a
right,
lot of time
so-
left.
I'm sad.
I have gone back-to-back weeks with 0 points. Joe 0, Sam 2, Steve 4. For a new total of Steve in commanding first place, 81 points. Nearest to
All
him
right,
is Joe,
Steve. Wow.
76. I remain at 75. Sam pulls ahead to 51.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oof.
In your face, smell my feet, eat my shorts.
I'll
Oh.
have a cow, man. What else?
You know, I don't want to say that it's my bruise on my head, but it reminds me of Doc Brown's bruise. So maybe it just makes you smarter when you get
Aw.
hit.
There you
I
go.
love
Yeah.
that.
That's how when I came up with the flux capacitor. I just realized that as I was.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
All right. House of Wax, 1953. An associate burns down a wax museum with the owner inside, but he survives, only to become vengeful and murderous. Directed by Andrew Titoth. Okay, so yeah, basically this one is Vincent Price plays a artist who makes a bunch of wax museum figurines, and he has this really popular art show where he's really into it, like creepily into it. He has an investor that really wants to get out of the business. He's like, this is not making me money, blah, blah, blah. So he has another guy come out. He's really interested in the project, but it's going to be 3 months before he comes back because he's going over to Egypt to go look at mummies or something. So this fucking rat bastard says, hey, man, to Vincent Price, why don't we just burn the place down and collect the insurance money? And Vincent's like, no, these are my art pieces. Like, I love these people. Like, legit, he talks to them all creepy. He like whispers in them and stuff. So the fucking guy beats up Vincent Price and then sets the whole place on fire with Vincent inside of it. And then that's it. fast forward a few years later, something like that, and Vincent Price is back at it, but he's disabled, so he has a lot of young artists doing the work for him, and it's like a hot commodity back in town again. This time, though, if there's like a crime, like a murder, whatever in the town, he puts that in his wax display and displays people. So like some guy got hung, he puts him in the exhibit, and so on. So that's where we're at. Who would like to go? Sam.
No, Joe.
Oh, I'm going first now.
Oh, get it.
Yeah, so I don't think I'd ever seen this one, and if I had, I didn't remember anything about it. So yeah, I mean, I went in with really no expectations whatsoever besides Vincent Price, obviously. But yeah, overall, I actually really enjoyed this one. It's a very good time. I thought the plot was great. Like, it was very interesting. Like, the wax figures like are all like really cool and creepy, and there's like a bit of a mystery here, I guess. Like, because there's like also like this weird Phantom of the Opera looking dude that's like going around killing people. But then we, which I immediately thought like, oh, that's Vincent Price's character, but then we see Vincent Price, so I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, like what's going on here? And yeah, I mean, so I enjoyed like the mystery of it all, even though like I felt like it was like kind of obvious, but it did throw me off a little bit when I did see like normal Vincent Price. So for me, like I was like kind of like I didn't guess it right away, I guess. Like I thought I did, but then I was like, it threw me off a little. Yeah, so like overall I liked it. My biggest problem, I guess, would be the ending, but we can get into that later.
So I hadn't seen this one before either. Vincent Price, what a handsome fella, am I right, everyone? Let's
Total DILF.
What about the whole scene with like the actual fire everywhere? I thought that was amazing.
Dude, it was real.
It was real. All
They
of it was
fucked up.
real.
They fucked up and it like literally lit on fire, and they like
But
burned
it
the
looks
place.
so good. I love that
Yeah.
whole scene where everything's like catching on fire. Although I wonder what it would have been like if his partner that burned down the museum, if he would have gotten revenge a little bit later on. Like it was just kind of really fast, and then he just was doing his own thing. I feel like it should have been like a build up to where he killed him at the end, but maybe that's just me. And like Joe said, you're kind of thinking, is this Vincent Price's character? Is this Henry? And then just the scene where she punches his face, and then you do realize the twist of it was pretty cool to see. Not much to add to it, really.
So I saw this movie in college as part of my film program. So that was the first and last time I think that I had seen this one. I absolutely adore Vincent Price, so I'm happy that I got to revisit it. And I loved this movie. I really had a good time watching this movie. I love like the feel of the movies in the 50s, like the big fanfare music of old films. I really love that, particularly during the fight scene. Like they're putting these big like orchestral band like music as they're fighting, which I thought was fantastic. I love the way the figures looked when they were melting and stuff. I thought that was really cool. I thought the makeup was actually pretty good, for its time. They didn't like skimp out, and I knew that was Vincent Price, because he moves a certain way. Like he has a very unique set of mannerisms, and he's lanky and he's like 6'4". I knew that, and it was obviously Vincent Price to me. So I kind of saw the twist coming a mile away, but still thought that was really cool. I love watching old movies too because of certain things that like. At one point, he tips someone like 50 cents and he's like, have yourself a nice dinner. It's just like, oh my God, times have changed. Another scene that really marked me is they're at a morgue at some point and a body just like pops up out of nowhere. And the guy's just like super unfazed. It's just like, that just happens, and puts it back down. Like doesn't scare him at all, which I thought was so weird, but it really made me laugh. The fucking intermission and the whole like thing around the intermission. So this was obviously meant to be seen in a movie theater, in the 50s, and having that whole paddle guy like at first I thought it was super stupid, but then I was really into it, and I really wanted to just keep like watching the paddle guy doing his thing because he kept doing these really interesting tricks. And the way he talks, man, I love the 1950s like jargon and the way that the accent of that era is so super, like awesome. Then there's like dancers and stuff. It's like a whole show intermission, which is so interesting. And then they go back to the movie like immediately after that. It's weird. It's weird to see now, but I could see how that was a fun like thing to do in the movie theater. It kind of set the mood a little bit in between, the film and everything. The sets were incredible. The movie's incredible. I fucking love this movie.
All right. Yeah. First time, long time for me as well. I just remember pretty much some beats from it. Yeah. 45-minute intermission is pretty strange. Like, were they that bored? But I know it was like to get their 3D effects, like so they can see that shit with the paddle. So that's funny. I was laughing out loud at the beginning with the Inferno because it gets out of control super fast, and it's fun reading that it was actually a real mistake and they just shot it still. But Vincent Price gets like a half like a fucking bowl and tries to put out something, and it's just hilarious because there's so much fire behind him. Like, dude, just get out. And Vincent, he's definitely like banging these models, right? Okay, just he was super into him. Like, this guy's definitely diddling some of these things. Vincent Price, he can fight because at the end he's fucking everybody up like back to back. It was almost like a comedy because one cop would run up and get knocked out, another cop would come at him, get picked up. They picked up a lot of guys during fights in this, which was pretty fun. I guess that was like a tactic. And my only thought too was I thought the twist was pretty televised. I wonder if the people back then got it, or were they like, oh fuck, like were they blown out of their mind? Because I can imagine they definitely were, especially with the reveal with the makeup, because it was really cool. A fun movie, definitely not the best Price flick. All my points go to him because I think he's just, whenever he's on screen, he's amazing. That voice, that look, I don't know. I think he'd be like a really interesting person to just talk to. And then the sets, like Steve said, the sets are amazing. The graphics look awesome, and that Inferno is so good. I loved it. So yeah, fun movie.
Yeah, like I agree with you, Todd, because like I don't know, Vincent Price is like he's such like a foreboding presence like on screen, so it's like you're kind of like rooting for him even though he's like the bad guy, and like you're supposed to be rooting for like our protagonist, like our main female character. I can't remember her character name obviously because we never can.
Sue.
But Sue, okay. Sue, like I thought she did okay and everything. Like she was fine, she was a good character and everything, but like I just didn't care like if she died. Like I was more into Vincent Price, like every time he was on screen, like I'm way more into him. Me personally, like that reveal was great. Like, and I didn't know, like honestly, like I was like, it's gotta be Price, but I was like, how is this like gonna work? Like personally, I was telling this to Sam, I thought he was normal looking, but he was like going and putting like the wax face to make him look disfigured, and like he was doing that. So when that reveal happens, when she like smashes his face and like his normal face comes off and it's like him, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like I was like, oh shit. Like, even though I did kind of see it coming that it was him, but like that reveal I thought was awesome. And I think back in the 50s, like there weren't like a lot of like reveals like that yet. Obviously, like now, like it happens like all the time, big twists, but like I feel like it didn't happen as much then. So I feel like people probably did lose their minds. And I really wish I could see this like in 3D because like it probably would have been so fun.
I think the 3D effects, they lost the whatever they needed to like make it 3D. I don't think Warner Brothers ever put it back into 3D. So I don't know if you can see a 3D now, but
right.
You're right. Vincent Price has such a commanding presence, and that's what I love so much about him. And he had that all the way up to the passing, when he did Edward Scissorhands. And I've mentioned many times that I grew up watching him on Hilarious House of Frightenstein, and he always had that presence. And I'm glad that we're starting to revisit kind of his old films, because that's the second one we've done in a year. And there's a lot. Like I'm looking through his filmography, and there's a lot of stuff I haven't seen. So I'm gonna start hunting these. It's just they're not super easy to find. This one's a little more popular, so I was able to buy it on my Xbox. But yeah, it's a great film. And did you guys, I don't know if you guys noticed, did you guys watch the old Addams Family from
yeah,
I
Caroline?
was gonna ask you guys that.
Yeah, Carolyn Jones was
Caroline Jones is a smoke show in the old Addams Family.
Yeah.
I could not stand her stupid laugh in this, so I was like, no, stop.
Yeah,
please
it
stop.
was pretty annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, that corset though. Ugh, like
Oh my
just-
God, yeah.
So
gosh.
tiny.
It's, yeah,
Like,
she was so tiny.
whoa.
Just gross. It's too much. Can't
Also,
believe
I
women
was
put
talking
themselves
to-
through that.
I was talking to Joe, because I kept hearing that everyone talked about how Charles Bronson was in this movie, and I was like, "Who is that?" And Joe's like, "Was he in this movie?" And he actually was. So I don't know if Steve and
he
Todd
was.
are aware of him as well, but he is Joe.
Oh,
is,
I
he's
didn't
Igor.
recognize him. I guess.
He was
Oh, he was Igor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Which
cool.
made me like think, I'm like, I didn't know Charles Bronson was that old, and he was.
Oh.
So, yeah.
How original, eh? His assistant Igor.
I know, yeah.
Come on.
It was fun.
Yeah.
That guy could fight too. He was knocking dudes out left and
Yeah,
right.
he was
He was a
tough,
beast.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was all jacked up. But yeah, I mean, so my biggest problem with the movie is the ending. Like, I feel like it's just like so abrupt, and like there's no like build up, you know. And I mean, we'll get into it. Like the remake ending like has great like build up, I feel like, and it's long. Whereas this one, like, it just kind of like happens, and then the end, like, you know, like, and it's like I wish we had a little more like build up and like I wish the climax was a little longer. So that's where this movie loses points for me personally.
Yeah, they did that with House on Haunted Hill too. It pretty much just ends. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess maybe that was just like the time, like,
Mhm.
you know, how those movies were back then. And I'm just more used to it. But I'm really, I agree with Steve. Like, I'm glad we're revisiting movies like these, because honestly, I probably wouldn't watch them otherwise. Like, you know, like I don't, anything past like the 60s, I really don't tend to gravitate towards. But man, I love them. Like, I've been loving, like, I thoroughly enjoyed watching this. Like, I thought it was great. And I have to like start watching more of like Steve said, Price's other movies I've never seen. So I'm excited to revisit more of his work.
You guys want to rate it, or are we waiting for the end to rate them both?
Whatever, I'll rate it now if you guys want.
Go ahead.
Shoot it.
Yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Like I said, the only problem really I had was with the ending, but a really solid movie. I'm gonna give it an 8.
I think I'm also gonna give it an 8.
I give it a 3.5 or a 7.75.
You scared me for a second.
I give it an 8.5. I really enjoyed it. There are a few issues, like Joe said, the ending, the mystery, like Sue trying to figure out that it's Kathy. Like she goes up to the wax figure like 4 times. It's just like,
Yeah,
either figure it out or don't. You know, it's just I don't
Move
know.
on.
That whole mystery part kind of lost me a little bit, but yeah, I love the film. So 8.5. Definitely, I'll rewatch this one. You know, in a few years. I mean, I bought it for the review, so I'll definitely revisit this one.
Mm-hmm.
One more thing. I always liked how Vincent was always creeping around. Like, he was always in the shadows.
Always, yeah.
Creeping around, yeah.
Well, he's touching his figures. I mean, like,
Yeah, he's fucking, yeah.
I found that like endearing though, like in a lot of ways. Like, I didn't find it creepy, more of just like he loved his work. Like, he was obsessed with his work, you know. Like, I didn't take it in like a sexual overtone type of way or anything like that.
He's definitely
like,
fucking him.
I didn't take it like that. I just was like, wow, like he just loved his work. Like, and he was like, so like, yeah. But you know, hey, if you want to be a creep and think like that,
Hey, at
Todd,
least it's
that's
a
fine.
mannequin, right? It's not a real person. All right. House of Wax Remake 2005. A group of unwitting teens are stranded near a strange wax museum and soon must fight to survive and keep from becoming the next exhibit. So this one's a little different. And by a little, I mean a lot different. The only thing it has to do with anything else from the original is the name itself and the fact that they're wax people. So yeah, there's a young college group, whatever. You got the boyfriend, girlfriend, you got her angsty brother who's just a prick and I cannot stand. I just want to uppercut him. Like, dude, stop trying to be tough. Drink a beer with your friends. You don't have to sideball or eyeball
he's
people.
rotten.
He's a stupid fuck. And you got the nerdy guy, and you got the suave black dude, and you got Paris Hilton, who's just like, she's not terrible. I'm gonna say it. She's not terrible in this. She's definitely a lot worse actors out there than her. But they do their jobs well. I mean, they're each like, you know, their character. But they're doing a cross country thing. They're going to a football game in Louisiana. Lo and behold, though, they stopped at camp so they can have a fresh start the next morning. When they wake up, the truck doesn't start. So part of the group's like, all right, I'm going to stay with my car. You guys go on. They're going to get help from this random, dude that's he's a country boy, right? They find a kill pit with a bunch of animals and they ask him to help them. He's like, yeah, you can get a part for your car down the road down there. So he takes them. They walk into this strange town and they walk in on a guy that's in a church. He's I'll come with you, I'll help you in a few minutes, whatever. Turns out he's a mechanic at the local gas station. He's like, I got your fucking car part. Meanwhile, the rest of the group that left for the football game gets stuck in traffic. They turn around, come back, and now throughout the movie, that group and the group that stayed behind are trying to link together while trying to survive the night, because lo and behold, the town is not what it seems. It's actually a area where twin brothers are on a rampage, creating their own art exhibit to honor their mother, who was really into art, wax museum stuff. So they're remaking the entire town, and I'll leave it at that. First time in a long time. I think I watched it originally around DVD when this first came out. Liked it a lot back then. Definitely dropped a little bit for me this time, but I did definitely appreciate it. So I'll leave it at that I liked it, and let one of you go.
Alrighty. So yeah, I, like I said, completely avoided this one mainly because of the whole Paris Hilton thing. But then Sam was like, Joe, you got to watch this. So like she showed it to me first. But honestly, I rewatched it, but I didn't remember like anything about it. So like on this rewatch, it was almost like a new watch again for me. And overall, like pretty mixed results here for me. I think there's good stuff here and also bad stuff. I think there's actually like a great movie in here somewhere. I really do. But it's bogged down by a lot of bullshit at the end of the day. Hour and 52 minutes, way too fucking long for this movie, right? Like House of Wax, the original, a nice tight hour and 24 minutes. But like, God, there's so much like unnecessary buildup in this movie. Like, you could have cut out like almost like that first 45, 50 minutes with like them, driving and like camping out. And then like the whole, side character hillbilly guy there and stuff like that. It was just like all like really unnecessary and didn't need to happen. And I'm going to get into some more later of like what I think would have been the better movie here, but I'll wait for everyone else's thoughts. But yeah, I mean, I did enjoy bits and pieces of this. I really loved the town setting here, like the creepy town setting. I loved the House of Wax setting, like how the whole house was made out of wax. I thought that was really cool. And I liked the wax killer face guy. He was pretty cool. And the whole climax, I did really enjoy. So yeah, I mean, overall mixed, but I'd say like more positive than negative for me.
So this is probably no surprise, but I actually love this movie so fucking much. It is horrifying. Are you joking? And when I saw this in the theater and when I just became obsessed with it, and it was one of like my mini favorites, I didn't know that it was a remake until like this podcast. I think we talked about it maybe a few months ago. I was like, oh, I had no idea. This movie I love, just because like with our 90s episode, I talked about how I love when you're a teen, when you're younger, they bring in like the most popular celebrity that all the other teens like to drive everyone else to see this movie. So I love when they do shit like that. So with Paris Hilton, yes, I want to see Paris Hilton in a fucking horror movie. Alicia, what's her last name? Cuthbert.
Something like that.
Cuthbert. So I liked her from A Girl Next Door. And again, I was like, can't wait to look like that as a teenager. That never happened. I loved her so much. Like, you really feel sorry for her because her fucking brother is an asshole who is awful to her. Hashtag relatable.
He's so bad.
He's awful. It's like
Terrible.
he takes no responsibility for his own actions. Like,
He's so angsty too. Like, shut up.
yeah, he's just such a fucking loser. But with Carly and her sweet boyfriend Wade, like they're just the cutest couple. He's so sensitive. Anyway, it's fine. But yeah, I just loved it. And then it's like you have your group of friends and you think you're going on like this fun weekend, and then now you're about to die. So the whole setup of like the set with the museum and the town is just so creepy. Like you feel so alone. Like there's no one that can help you in this place. I like that there's like the twin brothers, and then also with Nick and Carly, they're twins. So that kind of like has a little connection with the killers. And the scene that scares me the most, which I kind of talked about, it is where she's in the dark, like looking around in the house, but also where her poor boyfriend, Wade, gets his fucking Achilles tendon snapped off or something. Like they cut it, and then he goes in the fucking chair. All the like needles are pressing into him. They wax his face. They just shoot wax. It is horrifying. Like I still have nightmares about that scene. If you want to be scared and shit your pants, watch that scene on the big screen. Like it is awful. Makes me want to throw up. Anyways, I just love this movie so much. It just has like that nostalgia factor for me. And Jared Padalecki, will you marry me?
Real quick before Steve goes, Sam, did you put this in your top 2000s?
You know what? I'm not sure if I feel like I did, but maybe I
I
didn't.
remember, yeah.
I think I did though.
So I hadn't seen this in its entirety since my dad bought it on DVD in like 2006. I did see parts of it here and there because it was part of AMC's like Fear Fest thing that they do in October, and so it plays a lot, and because of that I saw like bits and pieces, but I never actually sat down to rewatch it until 2 days ago. And it's funny because I had the impression that people hated this movie, like generally, and like the horror community just did not like this movie. But when we discussed it on Discord, pretty much everyone loved it. So that kind of surprised me. But I had very low expectations going in because at the time I did think that everyone hated this. I do agree with Joe. It's way too long, and I feel I say this a lot about movies. You know, not a lot of movies can justify a close to 2 hour runtime. Some do, but a lot of them don't. And this is definitely one of them. I feel that the character of Blake and Paris Hilton's character could have been cut out of the movie completely, and it wouldn't change a thing. But they wanted Paris Hilton in it, so it's like they kind of built those characters just to give her something to do. But her boyfriend was completely pointless. That whole story completely could have been cut, and not the movie would not have been like different, except for Paris Hilton's like, you know, well, see or die type of thing that they had.
You had to get to that football game, Steve.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was like the jock, and you know, come on.
Right. See, and Sam's gonna hate me for this, but I thought that the Wade character was annoying, and a lot of the issues that they faced going into the town could have been avoided if he wasn't such an idiot.
Yes.
So I was happy to see that character disposed of.
Okay, well, remember that when Joe gets us killed. You remember.
The dude's just breaking and entering into this whole town.
He's like touching everything, pretending to burn stuff.
I mean,
No,
he
I
probably
would
feels
just walk
pressure
in.
with her brother too. Like, I don't know. Whatever.
So anyway, so it's funny how certain things. So throughout this whole movie, I had this movie at a really low score because I'm kind of scoring in my head as the movie goes along, and I wrote some notes early on because I write my notes as I'm watching it. And I wrote notes like, man, that is the fakest looking town ever. It looks like a movie set. It doesn't look like a real town. Then I wrote, oh, that whole wax museum is made of wax. That's stupid as hell. Like just these fucking notes. But the movie in the last like 20 minutes fucking kills it. And that's where I think this movie shines the most. I also really love the idea of having like this town populated by bodies made of wax, you know? I just wish they did more of it. Like you see that one old lady in the window. I thought that was cool, and I wish there was more of that in the town that made the town feel a little bit more alive. Which it didn't. It did, like you only see him really in the theater, in the church, and that old lady. And I wish we had seen more of that. Like just like it felt like there were people in the town, and then you realize that there aren't. So that was a disappointment to me. I wish they had gone further with that whole thing. But ultimately, you know, like I said, it's really the end that made this movie for me. I just really love everything that happens at the end with the whole wax. And that's where those two complaints kind of made sense to me because it's supposed to look like a movie set because it's built just to basically house these wax dummies, and the whole kind of wax melting scene was probably the coolest thing ever. But I don't know if you guys thought this, but I felt this was more a remake of Tourist Trap than it was House of Wax. I don't know if you guys felt that same way.
Definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's like there's the only similarity is the wax figures, but other than that, there's like they completely changed the storyline and like everything. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, overall, I liked it. It's just there's a lot too that I find it takes a long time to get to the point, you know, and yeah, that's unfortunate.
Did anyone notice when they were first walking into the town, the boyfriend girlfriend, how she laughed identically the back-to-back jokes? I don't know if anyone got that up, but I was like, what? It was almost like they didn't shoot her laughing twice, so they had to copy and paste it. I was like, what the fuck? I don't know. It was just really weird. But yeah, I mean, I think we all agree that it was a little too long. I think about 20-25 minutes can be cut out. And just to get, because like when this movie hit, it hit like fucking hard. Like it was great. Like when the horror stuff was happening, like when Jared Padalecki, whatever his name is, gets tortured, it's super brutal. Like it's pretty bad. Yeah. And then Paris Hilton's death's really good. Like her sliding down that pole is excellent. Getting sliced up the ankle is really brutal. I absolutely love like when the friend finds Jared sitting down and like
I love that scene.
Yeah,
love
he's
it.
crying.
Yeah.
Not only is it like
Sad.
brutal, but it's super sad because he's crying and then like his cheek gets shaved off and he's just tearing. Like, oh my god, like that. The horror stuff is really legit.
Yeah, I wish we got more of that, like stuff like that, because that was great. And like the kills are all pretty solid. Like when he like decapitates the kid and like he's still blinking, like I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, I mean Paris Hilton's kill was really cool too. I mean, yeah, all the kills are great. I kind of wish we got a little more, and I wish we got more with like the wax figures, like Steve said, like it would have been cool if like they went around like like maybe at one point they were running through the wax figures and like he was chopping more kind of. I mean, we get a little bit of that here and there, but I wish like the theater scene, like you said, was great. So for me, like what I was gonna say, I think the better movie here is completely eliminate the secondary brother, and just have the killer be the wax mask dude. Like I feel like we didn't need that other brother there, you know, the one who kind of talks more and stuff. I think if you just have a silent killer with this creepy wax mask going around, and you could still figure out what the hell's going on in the town. Like, I mean, we're not, you know, he was kind of there to kind of spoon feed us the plot in a lot of ways, you know, obviously like info dump and stuff. But I think, yeah, I would have preferred it more if we just had this one creepy killer. And I mean, it was another great fucking scene is when the wax house is obviously catching on fire and his mask is like slowly getting disfigured. I fucking loved that. Yeah, like the ending really does make this movie, because like I was like teetering, but I was like, this really isn't a good movie. And then that last half hour really does make up for it and turns us into a pretty solid movie.
Yeah, they're pretty lucky that there's never a heat wave in that town. Otherwise, that fucking whole place is melting.
Very
but that
true.
visually, it was so good. It was so good, that final scene. Excellent.
Yeah.
Everything melting and bubbling and the inferno, and so good.
It didn't really look like a museum though to me. That's
right.
one of my nitpicks. Like I wish they had more like exhibits, kind of like the original House of Wax, where it looked like a museum when he went in. It just really looked like someone's house that had figures in it, you know? So I thought that was a little unfortunate, but that goes back to, I think I wish we had seen more scenes of wax figures. I mean, the theater scene and the church scene especially were so creepy and so awesome and so well made that I wish we had seen more of it, and it's unfortunate.
I think the sequel was going to have that. They pitched it. I don't know if you guys read that, but it was going to be pitched. That was going to be a prequel about how like the kills leading up to the town being populated by the figures. So that would have been cool.
I was gonna say, Todd, fun fact, the director of this movie actually has directed a couple other horror movies.
Yeah.
So he directed The Orphan and also The Shallows, horror-wise. But biggest surprise for me is he directed 2021's Jungle Cruise, starring The Rock most recently.
Wow, that's a change.
Yeah.
Crazy. I was gonna say, to me, completely pointless to have that third brother at the end. Like that was like the big reveal at the end,
right? And it's like, who cares?
That was a reveal. I thought That was a brother? I didn't
Yeah,
even
because
catch that.
the cops say there's a third brother and we don't know where he
Oh.
is as they're
Yeah.
driving away, and he's like waving, and
That's stupid as fuck.
Right.
yeah, like why?
I didn't even catch that.
So I think that was only there because they were
For a
probably
sequel,
planning
maybe?
a sequel. Yeah, I mean that's the
Exactly,
only
yeah.
reason they're putting that in there. But yeah, it was like dumb. And then like it's fun. I love the info dump at the very end because I was like, how did like no one like go to this town before and stuff? And then like the cop throws out this like whole info dump of like, oh, well, here's why they didn't do this. I was like, okay, well, hey, there you go. At least they like explained it in some way, I guess. But I just found that hilarious.
Yeah, see, I thought when with the third brother, because I thought it was weird that the two characters in the ambulance had no other like attendants. Like if you've ever been in an ambulance, there's always like there's someone there in the ambulance with you. You're not just fucking. It's not a free ride to the hospital, you know. So I thought the brother would be the ambulance driver and being like, you know, bringing them to their death or something. But nope, he's just on his truck waving.
Right. So I think, and once again, I think the better twist would have been had like one of the other characters been the brother. I don't know how they would have been able to do that. Maybe like keep one alive and he's like the third brother and he's gonna like kill him or something. But you know, whatever.
And one more nitpick that I have. So it's a museum made of wax, and the basement is a guy full of fucking candles everywhere. Which is he really taking the time to like fucking light those 200 candles?
Yes,
And
yes,
B,
yes.
that doesn't seem like the smartest move to do. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
anyway.
they're like the generator underground too. It's like this
Right.
odd spot for it.
Yeah, a lot of convenient little things, but whatever.
Yeah.
It was still enjoyable to watch.
Yeah. I mean, this was like when all the remakes were happening too. Like, you know,
Yeah, this is the height.
the early 2000s. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, this one was okay.
Well, let's rate this fucking thing. Sam, lead her off.
I feel like 10 will be too obvious.
Oh,
Shit for it. So I'm gonna give it an
You do you, girl.
8.9.
wow.
And also I don't think it's too long. I didn't realize it was almost 2 hours.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah.
You like this truck though. That guy liked this truck for sure.
You just-
Yeah, I think it's a solid movie, especially the ending definitely saves it and just looks great throughout. Chad Michael Murray. Oh, dude, we get it. You're angry. Okay, cool. But that finger snip, we didn't mention that. That was
Oh,
amazing.
yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see that too often.
Mhm.
But I'm giving it a solid 7.25.
Yeah, this movie would have gotten a much higher rating for me if it wasn't bogged down by the runtime and just like a lot of unnecessary, like just filler that didn't need to be there. You cut this down to an hour 25, hour 30. This is like a 7.5 for me. But at an almost 2 hour runtime, it's just bloated and unnecessary, and it makes me not want to rewatch it. Like I would definitely rewatch this, but it makes me not want to rewatch it because of the runtime. But it's still like a solid movie, and the ending is worth it alone for the price of admission. So I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
And I was at a 5 for the majority of the movie until the wax scene at the end. And that's where I fucking think it shined the most and made it memorable. Made me maybe want to rewatch it one day. So I actually give it a 7 out of 10. It was enjoyable. Like it was way more enjoyable than I expected. I'll tell you that much. I really came in with low expectations, and I came out pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, same.
All right, both movies approved then.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What are we covering? Have we decided what's the deal next week?
I thought we'd let our Discord throw out some suggestions since we don't have anything. We're right at the cusp of like fucking crazy horror season, but since we don't have anything in particular, unless you guys do, I thought let's and that's why you should be on our Discord, folks. We throw out like stuff like this once in a while, just so on Discord. Is by the time the episode airs, we'll probably have chosen already because I have to watch it before the weekend, but yeah, we'll do this once in a while. So I'm just going to throw it out to the Discord, give them a day or two to throw out suggestions, and we'll decide internally which one works the best for us.
Very cool.
Yeah, and also, if you guys have suggestions for future episodes of original versus remake, I'd love to hear them because I enjoy doing things. I think we should do these more. And I know people enjoy us doing it. So there's a lot. Like there are a lot. It's a good way to get, into the 50s and some of the eras that maybe we wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah, 13 Ghosts is a really good original.
Yeah,
Oh,
that'd
that
be a
would
fun
be
one.
a good one.
That's a good one.
All right, guys. So that's going to be it for this week's episode. We appreciate you for listening. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, check out our Facebook, and join the Discord. There's a lot of cool stuff happening over there. And you can just message one of us and we'll get the Discord link for you. And maybe you can rate our podcast, subscribe, share with your friends and family, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, where today we are joined by a very special guest. His new movie, The Last Matinee, will be hitting VOD on August 24th. The writer, director, Maxi Contenti. Maxi, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
Hello. Thanks for the invitation. I'm good. I'm in Spain. It's the afternoon.
Awesome.
I can say that.
Very good.
It's hot.
Hot, yeah.
Summer.
It's been
Oh, yeah.
hot. It's been very hot here too. So why don't you start off by telling our listeners what The Last Matinee is about?
Okay. Well, The Last Matinee is a movie which is very much a slasher film set in the 90s in Montevideo in Uruguay, which is in Latin America. And it's about a movie theater. It happens all inside a movie theater where it's the last showing after the matinee of a horror film, and the projectionist's daughter takes place of the father's job because her father is ill, and suddenly an strange character enters without nobody noticing, and yeah, some shenanigans start to happen.
Yeah.
That's the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way to leave it off. Now, you directed the film, but you also wrote it as well. So where did you come up with the idea for it? And was there any other horror films you used as inspiration?
Yes. The idea came from the location, which is interesting because it's the main inspiration for the film. I was shooting an advertisement for, I was doing a commercial in this particular theater that I knew as a kid. And suddenly it just hit me that there was kind of like there was a calling from the movie theater. Like this place is haunted, this place is calling for a film. So cool, so big, and it just stayed very much the same as it was in the 90s when I went as a kid, and so that was the main inspiration. That's how it came to be. Then after I started thinking, I had a writing partner, Manuel Facal, who was the one who wrote the first draft of the script. I proposed him this idea for the film, and we came up. Okay, let's make it a slasher. Let's make a whole movie that happens inside this theater. Very much thinking also in production, being productionally wise, just being able to produce this film. So everything happens in theater. What kind of movie? Slasher. I would like to have a really good villain. Slashers have the best villains.
Mm-hmm.
They have the best antagonists. So let's create a local villain for Uruguay, for Montevideo. And yeah, that's how it started.
Very
Connections cool. Then became, okay, let's bring up some giallo here. Let's connect with giallo. Have a giallo scent to it, a giallo style to the slasher, mix them together, merge them.
Yep.
But yeah.
So that's interesting. So you guys actually filmed in an actual movie theater?
Yeah, actually there were two movie theaters that we used because the main theater, the inspiration for the film, didn't lack some areas were different. So I had to search for the ticket booth and the marquee on the street for another theater, which was it's actually the last working old school theater of Montevideo.
Oh wow.
And it was actually open when we were shooting, so we had to do night shoots there.
Yeah.
And it's really like very grindhousey
Mhm.
theater in a gallery. It's really it gets you. It's creepy, and we almost lost that location too because of problems with the owner. But we managed, and that was the combination of those two theaters that made up this '90s old theater house. But yeah,
Yeah.
they were real. They were
Yeah.
real, folks.
No, that's very cool. I didn't, that was going to be one of my questions anyway, but I would imagine filming in an actual movie theater, did you run into like any problems? Like while, was there any challenges that you came across when filming in an actual movie theater?
Yeah, a lot of them.
I bet.
The first one being getting the theater, which is I thought it was gonna be easier because this big theater was rented and used for many years by the Uruguayan Cinemateca, which is the Cinematheque. It's a art house uh, theater organization,
Mhm.
and they are cool with Uruguayan filmmaking, and they have this sort of help with the film school that I went. So I thought it was gonna be easier to arrange in a way, renting it for some time, but it wasn't. So it was after they left, which they did, and they got new theaters, beautiful ones, the best ones in Montevideo. But it was after they left the theater that we could rent the place to the owners. So we rented and we camped there. We brought all the production there, everything,
Wow.
the catering, the VFX was in one of the bathrooms. So we camped there, and that was our base, and that was perfect. But also was kind of like every day was night. We were there inside, and so we didn't know what day was, what hour it was, and it was it just it was our life for a month. It was 24 days. So yeah, it was difficult to get the theaters.
Yeah.
Then we had other difficulties, but it was the first one was that.
Yeah. Now, I heard you mention Giallo, obviously movies recently, earlier, and obviously I noticed, I mean, how could you not, the beautiful Argento movie poster for Opera that was prominently displayed quite a few times throughout the movie. So is Argento, was he a big inspiration for this? Are you a fan of his work? Was he a director you look up to?
Yes, but I will have to be honest and say that particular poster wasn't because that's my favorite
Okay.
gallo or anything. It was more of a necessity that happened, and then it kind of ended up caught in all this because the movie being projected was going to be another one. We were going to shoot the movie within the movie, make it. We were going to make a horror, an Italian horror, but we didn't have the budget for it for another week. So I came up with this idea of what if I use a real Italian horror? What if I can manage to get the rights for 5-6 minutes of a movie? That would be cool to combine a real movie. And so we almost got that movie.
Oh.
And I like that the theater house was called Opera. Actually, was called Opera
Okay.
in Uruguay. That theater house. So yeah, cool. Let's put Opera inside. And I thought, well, maybe I can manage to get those rights. And we almost we talked with the Argento people. We almost got something going on, and then the rights were from some other company. So that didn't work out. And then we did. We almost got some other movies, but then we ended up with the one we had, which has other connections, very much so, much better to some other things of this movie. So yeah, but that's why it is there. I love that movie, but it wasn't like that was the movie that I always champion, and that was so much inspired for this movie. I like it's cool that I can clear that up because I never cleared that up
Okay.
till now. and people start thinking, oh, he watched like 1,000 times that movie. Well, I'm more into Mario Bava and
Okay.
Fulci
Yep.
and Argento. Argento, it's of course Suspiria, of course his movies are amazing and huge inspiration. Tenebre and Profondo Rosso. I mean, come on. But thank you for letting me clear that out.
Of course. No, I'm glad we could.
It's an interesting story.
It is. It's very interesting. Yeah. No, I'm glad. So I found your use of lighting in this film was just beautiful. I absolutely loved it. So can you talk about, what inspired you to make those choices with the color and lighting?
Okay, that's props for the DP Benjamin Silva, who really championed that out, because we were going. I mean, he managed to make the theater, the lighting of being inside a movie theater, but also being able to see, worked out beautifully, or as I wanted. But then once we started to get this, okay, let's get this very much giallo inspired, stylistically giallo perfume to it everywhere. He pushed it a little bit further than I wanted, and I thank him for that, because it's a much beautiful film, photography wise, because of it. And but I was more I was hesitant to do it at first, for sure. Then I was more into the American slasher of the 80s kind of photography. I was going more for that, for John Carpenter. I was going more for Brian De Palma's, and also the camera work. Then I wanted to make it very classical, so it was very Hitchcockian, and I had always in my head, like, I guess Brian De Palma and Carpenter and Spielberg and all those. And but yeah, that was him, Benji, who pushed it. Okay, let's put this red here, and like, you sure? Yes. Okay. Hey, let's put it. Yeah, let's. Oh, it looks better. Okay, yeah, it's more expressive, it's expressionistic. Yeah, let's. And I embraced it. Yeah, sure.
Very cool. Well, we're coming up on time soon, but I do have one more for you. So, most horror movies today, they like to give us lots of backstory on the killer, but you took quite a different approach here and kept the killer more mysterious. Can you tell us why you chose to go that route?
Yeah, sure. This movie, it's about it's more of about the era. It's about the end of innocence. That the 90s was a more innocent time, and I like the idea of just making this boogeyman, this new boogeyman, mysterious, just like Michael Myers is in a way. In this particular story, it's a very you know it holds up in a very classical way, very archetypal in its characters, iconic, tries to connect in a visual way, in a concept, and it's also in a very small time frame for it. It all happens in a limited time, sort of like sort of real time during the projection of one movie. So it's like about everything happens in around 2 hours. You don't have much time to make it a whodunit film like giallos are.
Right.
It's more like once the conflict is finished, it's done. It's up to you, the audience, to. I mean, there is a backstory. I do have the whys.
Right.
I'm just keeping them in the mystery, because he's a mystery. Even though you see him, it stays a mystery. And I thought at this point in this movie, being just this solo movie, it's up to the audience. It's up to their imagination to come out of the whys and the meanings. So it's a very symbolic film in a way, because you can come up with what was it all about. What is this? What was this killer all about? Doing what he's doing. It's a mystery, so you can just come up with whatever. If I pushed or I am able to continue the story, which I'm eager to. I have an idea of how to continue the story. that will stop being a mystery, or unless you don't care about sequels or anything, it will stop being a mystery once I develop it or something.
Very cool. Well, I mean,
That was the idea. The idea was to just work your imagination and just come up. Maybe you have a better idea of what was all of that about than me explaining the whys.
That's awesome. And I think for like a standalone movie, that's great. But I would definitely love to see some backstory and the next. I would love to see another one, because I had a lot of fun with this one, and I definitely implore everyone to make sure to go and check out The Last Matinee. It's going to be hitting VOD here in North America on August 24th. So make sure you check it out. And Maxie, it was an absolute pleasure talking with you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Joe.
All right,
Pleasure.
awesome.
That's hot. 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 That's hot.